Hey guys, Pat here. Welcome to Box Office Addict, my weekly live stream podcast where I break down the weekend numbers for you guys and have a free-form discussion with the chat. This is episode 50. We made it, guys. Top of the world, Ma. I did it. I mean, this is crazy. 50 freaking episodes, people. We started this 50 Sundays ago. And we haven't missed one. 1 week out of 50. I thought for sure I would get sick, my internet would mess up, or a multitude of things would have happened. I mean, I thought for sure just a series of bad luck or something like that would hold me back from doing an episode, and none of it ever happened. I haven't been sick in over a year. I think I've become a superhuman being. Like, I'm not kidding. I haven't been sick in like a year and 3 months or something like that, like 15 months. So apparently I'm just super healthy, or I have some really terrible disease that's keeping other ones away. Who knows? Hope you guys could tune in last night for the Batman and Robin commentary. I think that was great. That was, I think, the best commentary I've done so far. You can't fight the addiction, Pat. You know, I think that's part of the reason the show works, is that I'm clearly the addicted one. That I have to come in and do this. Like, I can't help but check the box office on Sunday. And so I might as well live stream while I'm doing it. So I think that's part of where the title was very apt because of that. Just because I am definitely an addict to this whole thing. God, it's crazy to talk about this. I'm just, a lot of you have been here a long time. You guys have been here, some of you have been here since one of the first episodes, so some of you came in later. Came in like the 20s or so. That's really when I think the show started to find its identity and pick up, was probably around episode 20. And now I think we're at a point where the show's really found a format, and everything's been going great. I'm sorry if I sound a little, like, tired. I am. I was talking to Blood Money last night till, like, 7 in the morning, and I woke up today at, like, 1, so I didn't get too much sleep, and I stayed up pretty much 24 hours yesterday. I'm moving on Tuesday. I will be moving to Columbus on Tuesday. So a lot of this just has to do with the fact that I've been packing. The final details, you know, I've been putting boxes in the right place so I can take them out to the car and stuff like that in the U-Haul. So I'm just a little wore out. But I still want to do this. I hope I'm not too tired for the show. I hope that we can still have a lot of energy and fun and get through this. I hope this isn't too clinical. But I was thinking, what's a better way to celebrate Box Office Addict, which has been a show of so many things, with so many different bits I've done and conversations we've had about movies, or philosophical conversations at that, or talked about just personal stories and all that stuff, things that were relevant to me and to you guys that were relatable. I think the best way to do this is to just go back to basics. Let's go back to the classic Box Office Addict. Let's just do the box office, really, and focus on that. We can talk about other things. I'm not saying this show won't have some other stuff to it. But for me, I think I need to go back to where it all started, and that was talking about the weekend box office and breaking it down and giving you guys, you know, the information on it, my opinion. So there won't be too many, like, breakaways, at least for the early part of the show. Maybe a little later on we could talk about things, and I'll answer your questions. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Super chats would be very welcome right now because I'm moving and I need some extra cash. Not begging or anything, but if you guys want to celebrate episode 50, I popped in for all the Robin butt shots and nipple bits. Thank you. I thought the bit I did with Joel Schumacher throughout the whole thing was really funny, where he kept apologizing. So we'll get to the box office real quick, all right? But I don't want to. I still want to, you know, get an introduction with you guys and start a conversation, and give people a chance to come in here. I want to give people an opportunity to come in and pack up Box Office Addict so we can all talk to each other and all that. The show's views have gotten great. You know, I remember back in the day, this used to get, like, if I was lucky, I would get 200 hits on one of these. And I would do, you know, it was about 40 minutes back then, back when I just did the box office. And I'll read that in a second, Larry. And then, at some point, the shows started to get a lot of hits, like 3,000 hits on some of them. And then a couple episodes, the Jumanji one has 16,000 hits, the Maze Runner one has 14,000. I'm trying to think. There's one with 10,000. There's like 4 or 5 episodes with over 10,000 views, and we're talking about 2.5-hour live streams here. And then the last, like, dozen episodes have all had over 1,000, except for a very few. Last week had over 1,000. I mean, and the Black Panther one has like 11,000. So some people could be like, oh, that isn't a successful live stream. For a 9,000 subscribed channel, getting 16,000 hits or 10,000 hits on your live streams, really, really good. Those are really good hits. So the show it's kind of become a cult show, I feel. And we have a cult following, but that doesn't mean we still can't build it up, even though it's been 50 episodes, and that's a lot. But I think it's got a strong enough base, and I think we have a good format, and I think we all have a good chemistry, and new people can come in and add to it. So I'm really excited about the future in that way. I'm catching one live. Sweet, man. Welcome to the show. But you know, now I think we have a really good solid community here. We've had some episodes with like 80 to 100 people in here, and that's great. Also, thank you to everyone who helped me get over 9,000 subscribers this week. I just passed it. I'm like at 9,006. So let's try to get that to 10,000. I would like to reach 12,000 by the end of the year. That would be the goal, 12 to 15, but I'm aiming for 12. So I just got to make some videos that get me there. So, we're talking about Sicario, a shameless cash grab sequel, and Jurassic Park, a shameless cash grab sequel, and Incredibles 2, another cash grab sequel, and Uncle Drew that exists for some reason. Yeah, Uncle Drew is the odd one out, isn't it? You're a YouTube partner. Yeah. I'm glad you're here, Zen. I'm glad you're here. As always, we're joined by Bathory, my sidekick. And I'm glad that she's been able to be here. I was worried she might not be able to show up on this episode. And thank you to all you guys who've been regulars through this. Don't think I don't know your names. I see all you guys and I recognize you guys and I remember you, and I hope to see you every Sunday when I do this. So don't think you're forgotten just because I don't say your name all the time, or like maybe that we don't have a direct conversation. I know who you are, and I appreciate you being here. Thoughts on The Predator? It looks terrible, quite frankly. It's very disappointing. Shane Black, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Obviously he wrote, he worked on the original Predator script. He wrote Lethal Weapon, The Last Boy Scout. Ben Shapiro's podcast is a sponsor of your show. That's true. Maybe Ben will show up later, talk about something. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the trailer looks like AVP. It doesn't, I mean, it could just be a bad trailer. I really don't know. I mean, I'm not going to assume that it's a bad movie just because it's, because it might just be a bad trailer. But man, the acting, the cinematography, the action, the sound, it looks bad, man. Like, it looks like a bad B movie. It doesn't look like Shane Black at all. And I'm not a big Iron Man 3 fan, but Jesus, the dude's like a, competent filmmaker, but it doesn't look any better than the last few Predator films. In fact, Predators, the one that came out a few years ago with Adrian Brody, was a better looking movie than this. I'm very upset. Pat, you deserve a bigger audience. Just know that I will be sad when there will be too many people in your chats, are too big for you to answer most questions. That's definitely an issue, is when your channel gets bigger, which luckily we're not there yet. I've heard a lot of live streamers and channels say this, that their happiest time was when they had a small chat and community and they were able to talk to everybody and answer the questions, and then it blew up and you couldn't read them anymore. But I think there's a way to work around that. I think a lot of people just don't want to do that because they get so happy about the super chat format that they only answer super chat questions. I mean, I go to the World Class Bullshitters live streams, and they have a lot of people in there. I've been in a live stream with them where there's like 1,000 people, and they still read my chats and answer to them and all that stuff, and it's crowded. So I don't necessarily think that's always has to be the case. I think it's just amount of effort. I think some people like to say that they can't do it, but if you get some moderators and you're able to channel the questions a certain way, and I think you could read. I mean, the chat will be going by fast if this, if we ever had like 500 people in here, the chat would be going by so fast, it would be tough. I understand that, but luckily we're not there yet, so we can still enjoy the party. Also, if it gets to that, I'll do a call-in show. If the call-in show, and you guys can call in, and that'll be fine, and I'll filter it to where, certain people can call or not. I agree with you, Bathory. That's one of my issues with big live streams too, is the chats just become chaos. It's so much trolling. Like when you go to a Medicare live stream and there's 10,000 people watching, everyone's just trolling, and you can't have a conversation. It's chaos. You're like, why am I even in the chat? It's no reason to be. He barely looks at it. I mean, he'll notice the chat as a collective all saying something, but you can't get those individual one-on-one things anymore unless you have a super chat, and even then. But one thing I love about Box Office Addict and this channel is there's enough of you that it isn't crazy that I make videos or that I'm on here, but there's not too many of us. And we kind of have a good thing going here where you guys know a lot about the things I'm talking about and vice versa. And so it's kind of cool. It's like we're all hanging out like a social club or something. It's not your typical sub to the channel relationship, I find. I think we actually have a really... I think this is honestly one of the best communities on YouTube. I have no problem saying that. And I wouldn't say that just because it's you guys are my community. I would tell you guys if you suck. Don't get me wrong. I'd let you know. I used to have crappy subscribers. Back in the patriarchy days, and I'm not saying some of you guys here, but back in the day, I had a lot of terrible people that were like regulars on this channel that were like cringe and said ridiculous things in the comments all the time. And I don't want to go into it, but there's a lot of anti-Semitism back then, and people used to tell me, I used to have my friends tell me and other people tell me, like, I come to your channel just to read your comments. You have some of the worst comments on YouTube, and you have some of the worst subscribers. And that really, I mean, that ticked me off. That really did tick me off. But once I started doing Please Rewind, because when I started Please Rewind, I only had like 2,000 subs. So the majority of the subscribers now came from Please Rewind. I guess you could say Watchmen's kind of a B-movie dragon. But now I think what we've built up, I've heard this from so many people that come and say, man, you got one of the coolest groups on this channel. You got a great community on here, and everyone's so, like, fun and nice. And you guys aren't all just trolling. And I like that. Update, though. Jeff emailed me again from World Class, and he said let's try for July. Because I guess he started doing those live streams. Yeah, when I revisited your patriarchy videos, the comments were 90% cringe. They really were. If we're being objective, they really were. And that was an issue. I'm glad we've avoided that. And I think all the cool people stayed. And those people left. Is now the comments, and you guys are all great. I mean, I think we have an amazing... as one person said to me, Alex, who's a sub of the channel, he said he liked this better than Red Letter Media's forums. And I get what he means. I think we have one of the best... This takes me back to like IMDb or Joe Blow or movie forums I used to like to go on when I was a teenager. We kind of have that thing where we just talk about it. We talk about so much. And this isn't like normie tier movie conversation. You know, we do go into deep cuts. We do talk about things in a very in-depth way. So basically, Jeff said July. I guess he started doing those morning live streams, and he's live streaming because his channel finally passed 60,000 subs. So he just told me, he was very nice about it. He said, hey man, I wanted to have you on in the last couple weeks, but I'm live streaming all the time, and I have to get up really early. And I have to do... No, I think a weigh-in was going to be Robin. I think Marlon Wayans was going to be Robin. And he said, so I'm just so busy with that, getting up at 7 in the morning and doing that, I'm having a hard time, so let's just try for July. So I'm gonna probably be in there in July some point. I'll email him again. I'm just gonna leave him alone right now for a little while. But... Oh, no, IMDb definitely had bias forums. That was a rough time. But wasn't just you, Pat. Every anti-SJW thing became... That's what I used to say to people who said that. He used to come on and tell me you have the worst comments or worst subs. I go to Sargon's channel. Go to any anti-SJW's channel and read the comments. It's just the content that's being made that the people are terrible. None of the anti-SJW channels had a good comment section. None. They were all awful. I was in them, I remember. I completely agree. That's what I thought. It wasn't like I was attracting this. It was just the format. Something with the movie channel format, you get better people. It's probably because they're happier. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with that. I think IMDb forums are great because you could actually have a discussion. You could actually really break down things in there. It's just, yeah, it did suck. And there was so many fights. I used to get in epic fights on IMDb that lasted for like days. I mean, everybody was an a-hole. That was like an understood thing with IMDb, that everyone was a douche and tried to one-up each other, and arguing was the way of the world. It was like street rules. There was nobody... You rarely had a kind, nice conversation. It was almost always somebody being like, this movie's overrated. This movie sucks. But I still think that IMDb had good forums, and I still kind of miss going to them, because it used to be fun, like after a television show ended, you could go on there, which basically Reddit took over. I actually joined the Pat community because I loved Pat. You actually teach me. I was only a fan of select movies, but you sucked me in with the business side and Animal Charm. Animal Charm. I like that. There is a Sicario, too. Yeah, message boards are kind of going away everywhere. There's not many places left of them except, like, you know, Reddit or 4chan and stuff like that. I also got into fights at IMDb. Yeah, there was a lot of people on... Oh, man, I remember that guy. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of people on there that were total a-holes. I think that's why I got so good at debating on certain movies or talking in certain ways, because I had to argue so much on IMDb. Any thoughts... God, my voice today. Any thoughts on Dishonored Wolf? I like his content. I think he's a very funny guy. I think he's like a funny guy. I like his jokes. I think he thinks too highly of himself, but that might just be a character he's playing, so I don't want to just say that. I think the nitpicking format he does to reviews movies is something anyone can do, and he thinks it makes him super intelligent for some reason. And I'm kind of confused by it, but I'm not trying to insult him. I'd love to talk to him about it. Because when he goes on and on and on about a movie, he's just saying things anyone can do to watch his movies. Like, this thing doesn't make any sense and stupid. This thing doesn't make any sense or stupid. And he doesn't really explain storytelling, I think, in a very good way. I know he's a writer, but I imagine he's not a very good one. He doesn't talk about story structure or themes at all. I like subtext. He just does that classic format where you break down stupid stuff that doesn't make sense in movies, nitpick stuff. Which, you know, don't worry, I don't blame him. That's fine. That's fine. He can do that. I think his videos are fun, but I think they're videos anyone could make. I don't think there's anything special about Dishonored Wolf. I think he just, you know, benefited from his Star Wars video and a few other videos, but you know, because and you know, hey, I agree with a lot of his politics. I agree with him a lot on movies he doesn't like. I you know, but he basically just does the same video over and over again, and he's kind of a contrarian, and he seems to do... I mean, I don't know. I liked his Dark Tower video. I thought his Dark Tower video was great, because that was him talking about the book and all that, and how this wasn't a good adaptation. Yeah, I think David Stewart's better, too. Dishonored Wolf, I don't... Once again, I don't dislike... I'm not trying to talk crap, but I don't like his attitude. He kind of... His personality kind of bothers me. How he acts about things, and he just acts like he's an expert, especially his Twitter. Like he's some genius film reviewer that other people can't comprehend, and he says nothing that's insightful or that nobody else wouldn't say somewhere. So that's always bothered me. But he has a nice voice and presentation. Oh, yeah, thank you for liking my Dark Tower video. That was a big video for me. I mean, I would talk to the guy if I ever could. I would like to talk to him. I think he's a really cool guy. I have issues with some of his approach to his content, but I'm not like the content police. I'm not content cop. I'm not going to tell Dishonored Wolf what to do. He's got more subs than me. So it's working. You know, it's not... He certainly has more... Yeah, he did have passion for Dark Tower. Sometimes I wonder if he doesn't have any passion for movies or talking about certain things, and he just does it for the money, the ad revenue, and the clicks, which I don't... You know, we all kind of do, but... sometimes I feel like he just goes into a movie to hate it, like Solo, and just give it a horrible review, and break it down and nitpick it because he knows that's what people want. I could be wrong. Maybe that's not... He would argue that's not what he does, but I think people kind of reveal themselves without realizing it. And that's sort of where... That's sort of where I see that. Is he young? Is he a young guy? I don't know how old Wolf is. I thought he was like in his 20s, but is he young? Is he like, what, is he like 17? Could Silent Hill make a good movie or film reboot with a different plot line in the vein of the older games? I think you could make a good Silent Hill movie. I always went to IMDb forums after watching a K-horror movie just to see if it actually understood the 10 twists. I used to always go on after a TV show episode like Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad, or I would go on... The best part of an IMDb forum was the months before a movie came out. Like 6 months before the movie came out was always the best time to be on an IMDb forum, talking about what was going to happen and debating it. It is easier to be negative. Being negative about movies, well, to be fair, it's easy to be positive in like a Screen Junkies Collider way. It's easy to be like, you know, bland. Red Letter Media even kind of made fun of that with their Jurassic World review they just did with the opening. But it's really easy to nitpick a movie and break down what doesn't work. Because movies have problems. Almost all movies have problems. So it's really easy to do that, where trying to find the depth of a movie and what their artist was really trying to say and give constructive criticism and break things down is very difficult. It takes a lot more movie knowledge and sitting around. One of my problems with a lot of these movie channels that are getting big right now, and I don't mean all of them, but all the... God, my voice, Jesus. I don't know what's going on. I'm drinking water, but my voice is just cracking right now. On All Days to Do It, episode 50. But a lot of these channels that have gotten really big the last year or so, these movie channels, one of my issues with them is it just seems like they haven't seen a lot of movies. It seems like they've seen famous movies, but it seems like they're not really film buffs. They just started making movie videos and it kind of blew up for them, so they took that path. And they're good at reviewing, they're good at breaking things down, but I wonder if they really love movies. I think they like stories, and all of them seem to like anime for some reason. They all seem to think anime is like one of the highest forms of storytelling. And they all like certain genre books, but as far as film goes, I think they kind of don't really know much about the medium and kind of got into it and didn't... Because they never talk about anything that isn't like really famous or really a movie everyone's seen. I've rarely seen these newer channels talk about foreign films or art films or obscure films or cult films and stuff like that, which, you know, whatever. You know, I'm not saying they have to, but get some menthol, Pat. Yeah. It's just because I woke up like it's just because I woke up like an hour and a half or 2 hours ago, so I'm not getting enough time for my voice to really... It sucks, because I want to do this show, and it's like, damn it, my voice is fucking up. I do feel Midnight's Edge getting bigger was what affected it, and now they're trying to gain back their audiences. What do you mean? What do you mean Midnight's... I mean, Midnight's Edge got really big, but they're trying to gain back their audiences? Hi, Rav. I hope your daughter is better. Oh, I didn't know there was something wrong with your daughter. I do not smoke cigarettes, no. I don't know what's happened some days. You know, I did the 2-hour live stream last night, and I didn't get to drink enough water, so it might be something to do with that. So, I'm not sure with all the factors, but... Yeah, my voice... Yeah, you hear that? Like, I'm having a hard time. Hey, Pat, I know that someone said the Dark Tower movie sequel was justified because the books loop back at the beginning. That it's hard to adapt Dark Tower. Any thoughts? I talked about that before. That's a really dumb argument. I ranted about that on Box Office Addict back when I did Dark Tower. But I'm not a good speaker. You don't know that. You might just not be a good speaker yet. If your favorite movie is Terminator 2 or Die Hard or Back to the Future, I do think that you probably haven't seen enough films. Yeah, I don't care if that's your favorite movie. It's just that can't be your only kind of favorite movie, I guess. Alright, I'm gonna go get some water, so you guys just give me a second here, but I'll put the background up. I'll be right back. Alright, we are back. Sorry about that. I had to get some water. I'm gonna have to be drinking water throughout this whole thing because my voice is not doing well today. I'm trying to clear my throat. I don't know what the hell's going on. I didn't get enough time to do voice exercises, and I usually do voice exercises before doing Box Office Addict, you know. And I try to get my throat clear and get used to it, but I didn't get to do that today, so I think my voice had just got like, hey, Saturday Night Fever makes this show tough. Because Saturday Night Fever is usually like 2.5 hours, and then I got to get up and do this show for another like 2 hours, so it usually makes it very difficult. Although I used to be able to live stream all the time. I used to do 5-hour live streams. I remember I did the 3.5-hour one that one time, and not too long ago, but I did a 5-hour one time back in the day. So I don't know what it is. My voice has been really strained the last few months. Did you ever watch Thief? Please rehydrate. That's funny. Yeah, Beth, he turned me on to people like that as well. Thanks to Pat, now I'm trying to watch movies from directors like Herzog. Yes, you should definitely watch Herzog. There's so many great films out there, so many filmmakers that have so many great films that people don't watch. Especially, you know, a lot of younger people. I guess it is I'm getting old. I don't know. A couple years, yeah, when I first started the show. All that talking to blood money, Pat. That's a good point, Bathory. Yeah, that's a good point I didn't consider. That's the thing. Sometimes me and Blood Money have like 8-hour conversations and I talk fine the entire 8 hours. Then when I have to record, all of a sudden my voice is like, fuck you, man. Like I've said with Blood Money, we've had 8-10 hour long conversations. And, you know, we're talking back and forth the whole time, but for some reason, the last like few Box Office Addicts, my voice has been a real pain in the ass. So I apologize. I apologize if it has some issues today. Would you ever consider doing voice acting? Yes. I would like to do voice acting, actually. I think I'd be very good at that. I know a lot of people hate my voice. I get that comment on a regular basis. You have a whiny, nasally bitch voice. I get like Leafy here comparisons. And you're making my ears bleed. I bet a lot of people say they like my commentary and my videos, but they can't listen to them because of my voice, because I have kind of a high voice. Which, you know, is fine. If you don't like someone's voice, I'm not telling you you're wrong, but I can change my voice. I can do a lot of different types of voices. I'm decent at types of certain impressions, and I can make my voice really low and high and do different things. So, the thing with voice acting is I think I could do a different voice that wouldn't just be my voice. But I also think I just have good syntax. I think I deliver things really well. I think I have a nice delivery. And because some people talk about that, they're like, man, the things you could do with your voice. And some of my videos, if you notice, it's more about the delivery than even what I'm saying. You know, sometimes it's not even, because a lot of those YouTubers who have really nice voices, they don't really have to work on delivery. They just have to say stuff and their voices are nice. But I like your sexy voice. Yeah, I don't think it's that sexy, but thank you. I think I'd be good at it too. But I can't do that right now, guys. Did you not see yourself thinking that my voice is straining and my throat hurts? I don't want to blow my voice out doing this. I gotta talk. I've never had chicks not like my voice. It's mainly dudes who say it. It's almost entirely guys who tell me, who come on here and say they don't like my voice, but I've never had women really say it. Women seem to think it's okay. But I noticed that, a lot of channels, it's like, hey, you have a good voice, where I work on delivery and how you say things, and I think a lot of my best videos are the way I say things are really funny, and it makes the joke funnier. Like that rant I did on audiences. Terrible Lizard made that video, and the way I delivered things are really funny. Mundane Matt seems to think that being a movie fan means being blindly positive to every movie, unless it's good for your channel. Yeah, I know. I think he has that issue, right? When they write you lines, I write a lot of lines. That's part of it. Is I write a lot of specific lines for my videos and stuff like that. I can do John Lovitz. I can do Ben Shapiro. I can do Wallace Shawn, which I think I do the best Tarantino impression of all time. I don't think anyone could do a better Quentin Tarantino impression than me. And I do a few others. I mean, I used to be able to do Elmo really well, and obviously Yoda and all that crap, but I usually can do impressions of people I know. Like, if I meet you and I hang out with you for a week, I can do an impression of you. Pat, you're not gay, so who gives a shit what guys think you are? I mean, I don't know. It's just, I'm just saying I get that comment. I'm not saying guys or girls, whatever. Mundane Matt is definitely a movie normie. 100%. Matt has never said one interesting thing. I could probably do Joe Pesci. I just think it would be very stressful in my voice right now. We should get to the box office now before you throw it, though. Yeah, and I did say this was going to go back to basics and be a box office show, and we're 35 minutes in, and we haven't talked about the box office. I did Tarantino last week for like 30 minutes. Maybe I can do it later if my voice gets up to it, but I need to get to the box office. Would you choose to helm a Silent Hill movie, and what would the plot be? I would. Who would you choose? I thought you were asking me, because I was like, I don't want to make a Silent Hill movie. Let's see, who would I pick? Let's see, Hiro Murai, the guy who directs Atlanta, directed some episodes of Barry, does Childish Gambino's music videos. And I would have it be similar to the plot of Silent Hill 2, really, where the guy goes to find his wife. I think for YouTube videos, yeah, I agree. It's about a guy who goes to find his wife and goes to Silent Hill and, crazy. I mean, I think plot's not the #1 element that matters. Silly fun fact, Joe Pesci sounds exactly like the German voice of Ernie from Sesame Street. That's a silly fun fact. You were not lying. Okay, so I'm sorry this hasn't been too comedic of a show. I'm having a hard time getting warmed up. Alright, let's get to the box office, shall we? Okay. Overboard. $215,000 this weekend, $50 million domestic, $86 million worldwide. This film did really well, I gotta say. That's a good performance. RBG, $388,000, $11 million. For a documentary, that is terrific. It really is. Book Club, $620,000. Book Club is at $66 million domestic. That's a really solid performance. $100 million would have been better, but who's counting except me? Adrift is at $30 million on a $35 million budget. This film is definitely a money loser. Okay, Superfly. The remake of Superfly, I guess, by Director X. 58% drop, pretty big drop, 1.4 million, 18 million domestic, $16 million budget. Why did they make this movie? What were they thinking? Avengers Infinity War, 1.4 million, 44% drop, 672 million. Should be able to make 675. It's at 2,034 million worldwide. It's about done internationally. It still has a few million to make domestically. Terrific performance. What can you say? Amazing performance. Hereditary, 2.2 million, 38% drop. This film's held on. $39 million at the box office, 59 million worldwide. Didn't have a big budget. I think it was like 5 million. Very acclaimed film. So it did well. It did well. It didn't just like drop. It's one of A24's most successful movies. Won't You Be My Neighbor? 2.2 million, 25% increase at 654 theaters. This is at $7.4 million domestic. This is terrific for a documentary. This film could end up making like $15 to $20 million. This is a really good performance. Solo, a Star Wars story, 2.2 million, $207 million domestic, 49% drop. This film's at $368 million worldwide. It is still a bomb that's going to lose $50 million for Disney and so on. You know, it's hard to look at this in any positive way. You could say, oh, we'll make 200 mil domestic, but man, to not make like 500 million worldwide as a Star Wars film is just pathetic. I mean, this is the international box office is pathetic for this. I could give the domestic one a somewhat of a pass, because really, a Han Solo movie was a tough sell. That's not Harrison Ford. So whatever. And I just don't think this film had a great marketing campaign. I really blame the marketing campaign. I don't think they did a good job at building hype. But the word of mouth wasn't there either, I suppose. Sanju, 2.5 million. Or is it Sanja? Probably Sanja, isn't it? I said Sanju. Sanjus. It's Sanja. 2.5 million. And $24 million worldwide. So obviously this is like an international film because it's obviously open there first. I have not heard of this movie. The poster's not really hooking me. That's a terrible poster. Sanju sounds like I named a Pokemon. Sanju! 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 Sanja. Book Club. Why your mom and her friends get Randy from 50 Shades of Grey. Good for it making money. Also good on Hereditary for not being jump scares. So Ocean's 8 stars blamed lack of diversity among critics for the movie's mixed reviews. Of course! Because all women and minorities loved it. Yeah, the Solo poster does suck, I agree. So you thought I said Sanju? Oh, Jesus, no. It's a Sanju! That recent Metacrew video, that Pokemon one was great though, wasn't it? That, the montage with the immigrants and the Pokemon theme playing, that was hilarious. Also, it's rumored that KK is gonna let go of Lucasfilm. That would be nice. That'd be really nice. Infinity War, my answer to the superhero fatigue, bullshit. Good superhero movies are like delicious pancakes. They never get old. Yeah, I don't really believe in the fatigue thing either, because there's no signs of it happening. Superhero movies are making crazy money every year. And if people are like, I've been hearing about superhero fatigue since I was like 15. When's it gonna happen? I mean, it's obviously gonna happen at some point, but it hasn't happened yet. Sanja is God, bibliographic Indian film. Really? I did not know that. I recently watched Sicario. Casper, I love your voice. Thank you. Yeah, I did not say. Yeah, somebody was like, "Did you say Sanju?" I'm like, no. What's a Sanju? There's water juice and sand juice and air juice. How does Medicare keep finding the weird internet stuff? I don't know. He keeps finding just like pebbles of beauty. He keeps finding gold. I still stand by John Mulaney's female Ocean's 11 joke. Have you seen Gotti? I've heard it's really bad. No, I would like to watch it because just how bad it is. It sounds funny. It sounds like a really funny movie. Alright, this isn't the busiest box office ad. I was hoping we could get like 50, 60 people in here. I'm not complaining. This is about our average numbers, just for it being 50 though. But I guess it's usually what the movie you're talking about is, you know. That's one thing with the show. You're held by the movie. Okay, so that was Sanja. Deadpool 2, 3.4 million. It's at $310 million domestically. $719 million worldwide on a $110 million budget. I've said so much about this movie. I don't know if there's anything new I could say about it. It made a crap load of money. It didn't make as much as the first one. It didn't need to. The budget's a little higher, but it's still a really low budget. It made 300 mil domestic. That's great for a sequel. And, you know, yeah, I'm sure the studio thought maybe this was going to make 850 million or 900. That's what I would have thought if I was making Deadpool 2. I would have thought, well, this is a lock for 800 million. I wouldn't have thought that it would have settled around 700 something, but still, it's hard to complain about 719 million on a $110 million budget. I mean, that's great. This is going to have a huge profit. There's probably more back end on this movie for Ryan Reynolds. I could see that maybe affecting the profits a little bit. But still, you know, that means the third film's going to have a $100 million opening weekend, and they should be locked to have at least 250 mil domestic. So there's still a lot of room left for Deadpool to be a successful franchise. He clearly still has a huge fan base. I mean, that's really good numbers. I mean, I think a lot of this is goodwill from the first movie becoming this sleeper gigantic hit. But a lot of people love this movie. It seems more mixed between this and the first movie. Generally, it seems like some people think this movie's amazing and one of the best comic book movies, comedies of the last few years, and other people think it was disappointing. I don't know. I've heard that debate. I think it's definitely out there that a lot of people, I don't know. It's weird. This movie's weird. It's a weird thing. I like the movie. I think it's fun. But I've heard some people say it's like a 9 out of 10 and it's amazing and all that, and that I don't get that either. I wish it had been like an amazing movie. that blew me away. I mean, that's what I wanted going into it. But it's, you know, still, yeah, David Leitch, this is a huge hit for him. He needed this bounce back after Atomic Blonde really kind of didn't do that great, and John Wick 2 kind of blew up and became its own, kind of really solidified a franchise, and, you know, he left that film. So, yeah, this is good for him. He said this is a nice bounce back for him, and I'm happy for him. Good for him, you know, he's a good action director. And, Ryan Reynolds, he's got The Hitman's Bodyguard's Wife coming out, a sequel to The Hitman's Bodyguard, which was a surprisingly big hit for him. So, you know, he's got a couple franchises right now. So hopefully he can keep this going, because I've liked Ryan Reynolds for a long time. And, yeah, good for Fox, too. I mean, I guess the Disney deal's happening, so good for Disney, I guess is what I'm really saying. Tag, you're it. $5.6 million from WB, $40 million domestic, $28 million. This film could have been a breakout hit, I feel, but it just didn't really happen. It's not a bomb, but I don't know. It didn't really take off like I thought it might. This has Ed Helms and John Hamm, who I love, and Jeremy Renner, but whatever. You know, it sounds like, I mean, it was a pretty silly premise. I mean, it's a fun idea for a movie, but how much can you get out of it, to be honest? Why do SJWs and journalists stress about Asian representation in film, only to either not to support said films with Asian actors or Asian filmmakers, or outright downplay it? Because it's just virtue signaling, like they always do. They don't actually care. It's just to build up their own self-worth and egos to make themselves sound better. I mean, that's really all it is. Oh, I have a voice like the guy who does Garfield. What's his name? John? Or the guy, not the voice, but the Garfield's owner. Is it John or Dave? I can't remember. I think it's John or something like that. Oh, John. Just give me the lasagna. I don't want to do this. Oh, Odie, leave me alone. I wish they didn't cut Deadpool in half. Oh, yeah, I guess... yeah, I thought you meant like they cut the movie in half, and I'm like, oh wait, no, they cut Deadpool in half. That's right. Pat, I'm in the minority, but I think Deadpool 2 is better than the first. I don't think that's necessarily the minority. I think that's really debated. I'm not sure if that's a minority opinion. What scares me about the Fox stuff is there was talk about the New Mutants and latest X-Men movie being out by now, but they were maybe put on hold for this Disney acquisition crap. I think that's definitely the case. Have you seen Lindsay Ellis's video on gay subtext? Yes. Yes, I have. I've seen most of her videos. Although I really don't get the complex feels of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I don't consider that complex feels, but anyone who uses feels kind of... She makes good videos, though, but I'm like, oh, come on. Can we quit pretending that Marvel's making these, like, 10 out of 10 brilliant movies? Even the movies I really like. Can we, like, stop pretending that, like, this is so amazing how they did this piece of storytelling? They've already done well enough recently anyway. Dave is Alvin and the Chipmunks, yeah. John Arbuckle? I was trying to remember John. Yeah, Garfield. Oh, John. No, John. Just let me sleep. I hated the kid the most character, dumb as fucking... I didn't like the kid either. I didn't think he was funny and that likable or that... I mean, it's not the actor. I just didn't think he was that well executed from a writing standpoint. Both Deadpool and Deadpool 2 are 5-star movies, but I'd give the edge to the first being slightly better. I don't know which one I like better. I think I like a lot of the jokes better in 2 and some of its ambition, but I kind of think 1 has a better story structure. So it's tough for me to say which one I like better. I think both movies are fine, though. You know, I think they're fine movies. I mean, they're hardly movies, I think. They're more just like a film, like a... You know, like a comedy. They're more just like, you know, it took, honestly, to me, they kind of go back to the 2000s, like when I was a teenager. It reminds me of that era. Ocean's 8, also from Warner Brothers. $8 million weekend, 30% drop, $114.7 million domestically. On a $70 million budget, this film should be able to make $130 million, which is where it looked like it was going to wrap up with its multiplier anyway. Off the $41 million opening weekend. It's now past $209 million worldwide. I've said for the last few weeks, I think $250 million the sweet spot to call this a hit. I'm not saying it hasn't made a profit yet, but I think $250 million or more makes it a hit movie, where a sequel would make sense. And don't wrong, this is good box office right now, but $70 million is a pretty big budget. For being fair, that's not a minor budget, so I think 250 million to 300 million is the sweet spot for this movie. The Oceans franchise, man, it's really lasted. That original movie just became such a big hit and people loved it, and I don't know, man, I mean, seriously, you put Oceans in front of a movie, it makes money. I give credit to Soderbergh and them. I mean, I don't even love the Ocean's 11 movies, but they really have been able to keep it like a relevant franchise. I mean, there's 4 Oceans movies now, new ones that have all done well. So, you know, kudos. You know, even though they're using different characters and Sandra Bullock's playing his sister, this movie's still a big hit. And I don't think it's just because of the cast. I mean, I think that helps, but I think it's the Oceans brand. The Oceans brand name is really, really fruitful. I mean, they could have probably made a new Oceans film, like Oceans 14 with Brad. If they could have got Brad Pitt back and George Clooney and Matt Damon, because it's been so long since Oceans 13, I think that film could have made 150 to 200 million domestic. I really do. Now that I see the performance of this movie, I'm like, man, wow, Oceans 14, because I thought, oh, the Oceans franchise, that's kind of dead. Now I'm sitting there thinking, no, they could have made Oceans 14 and that could have been a big hit. Now, if they'd have brought Danny Ocean back, I think, now looking at it, that could have been a really big movie. And some people are going to say, oh, no, it's because of the female angle and it's different. No, I think it's just people being like, oh, a new Oceans movie. I think it's that simple. Tried to watch NC Deadpool 2. It was painful. Nostalgia Critic? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't watch his main videos anymore that aren't like the Fox Kids ones or something like that. I can't watch his movie reviews anymore. Winter Soldier's really good. Winter Soldier's a really good flick. I think the third act, it falls apart a little bit, but the first 2 acts are solid. Solid storytelling and character work. Too much talk on Tarantino, Coen Brothers, and Fincher, but not enough on PTA and Nolan. Where? Because people talk about Nolan a lot, I think. Pat, considering Ocean's 8 has 3 Oscars winning in it, 70 million is pretty reasonable budget. I mean, I'm not saying the budget's not reasonable, it's just a big budget movie. You know, it's making 115 million, but it costs a lot and there's a lot in marketing. I'm just saying that for profits. I'm not talking about why they spent the money. I'm sure they spent the money accordingly, but it's you know, it's not like a $30 million film that's making on, you know, it's not A Quiet Place. Brad's gonna need money for the divorce. Have you watched Soul Brother number 3? He talks about voice acting. I have not. Yes, I would agree that Doug Walker's a bit of a normie when it comes to movies. But, you know, once again, that's fine. He's not really making films for an audience that don't... I mean, he's just talking about movies from your childhood. Or, really, no, the last few years, he's just been reviewing new movies. He kind of stopped doing... I mean, occasionally he'll do a Nostalgia Critic. I like the Fox Kids video, even though his cutaway jokes and all that are horrible. It's like, man, dude, could you hire somebody who knows how to write a fucking sketch and get some actors that aren't terrible? Like, seriously, I want to like this, man, but Jesus. I mean, it drives me nuts. I hated how the characters were dumb as fucking Deadpool 2. They were dumb. Yeah. Bravo, Nolan. Bravo. It's so funny, after I did the Batman and Robin commentary last night, I went to bed and Batman Begins was on TV and I was watching and I'm like, huh. Really like this movie. Model Pat, best Pat. Oh yeah, I was going through old photos and did the years of Pat and Kylo Ren. Dave and Kylo, the college years. You know, am I the only one who's noticed that Marvel ripped off Batman Begins? Every Marvel film's Batman Begins. The origin films. I mean, Iron Man's Batman Begins. And Batman Begins came in 2005. I was watching it last night. The first half hour is you meet the guy, you have the setup. The second half, conflict and all that. And then in the third act, they become the hero and you get a big action sequence in the third. And you could say Spider-Man 1 did that, but that's not really true. It was more like Richard Donner's Superman. There's something very specific to how Batman Begins is done in that grounded way. It's like Iron Man. Iron Man's a very grounded character in that first movie. And how they grounded Thor and they or even Doctor Strange in that, even with the big special effects. It's like that story structure that Nolan did for Batman Begins and the way that the humor is delivered and the way it's paced out and everything is Marvel movies. I mean, I was like, man, this is like a proto Marvel film. A few years before Marvel, the MCU started. This is like the proto to how to structure these kind of movies and really hit with audiences. And that's all I kept thinking watching it last night. I was like, this has the tone, the pacing, the feel. Kevin Feige once said that Batman Begins was an influence on how they approached the plot line. Oh, he did? Okay, because it's obvious. Yeah. I was watching it last night, and I'm like, this is very much the model for a Marvel like movie. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't get in my head. It's like, this is the structure of like it's so much like Iron Man. Like with Tony Stark's character, now he slowly becomes Iron Man and figures trial and error, and how Bruce Wayne does it in the movie. And then at the end, he's got to fight a mentor friend in the third act. Least favorite Nolan movie, definitely Interstellar, for sure. Even though I think Interstellar has sequences that are amazing from like a technical standpoint, there's at least 3 or 4 scenes in Interstellar that are amazing, like from just a special effects standpoint. But yeah, Interstellar or Dark Knight Rises, I think, is such a funny movie. I give it a pass. But those are easily the 2 worst Nolan films for me. All of his other films, I think, are really good. I don't really have an issue with any of his other films. I think they're all... I mean, I have, problems, but I like them. I've watched Batman Begins, remember liking it, but still can't remember anything about it. I've seen Batman Begins like 30 times. I love it. I think it's a classic of the 2000s, like classic blockbuster. It still feels fresh. Like, I was watching it last night, and it's still really fresh. But it definitely does feel like the prototype to the Marvel film. So you're saying Kevin Feige stole the only way that you do superhero films that's grounded. I think he took a lot, the tone that Nolan figured out. Nolan kind of cracked it, I think. Like, this is how you keep the characters from seeming really silly and campy. And you base it in characterization and relationships. And you don't need to focus so much on the spectacle all the time. You can have it in the third act, but the stuff that's going to get people to come back to these movies, and it's what's worked for Marvel, is character relationships and the lead character feeling like a person. And you getting to know that person. And it's just something with the way Nolan paced that movie and the tone of it and the story structure. He uses the non-linear stuff in the flashbacks. But, yeah, a lot of that stuff, it feels like Iron Man 1 in particular, and some of the stuff they did in Thor and Captain America, where it's like, oh yeah, this is how you meet this guy, and you kind of get in this journey with him, and how the villains are even used. The villains are because Batman Begins has never been... Its villains are kind of one of the weakest elements, where Nolan really improved in that in the sequels. And it's kind of got the Marvel villain thing, too, even with, like, villains kind of being secondary. Even though I really like Scarecrow, he's not in the movie enough. And Batman Begins has the... the training, the figuring it out, some character impacting your life thing that makes you... want to be a hero. Especially the third act. The third act is very Marvel movies, where you have some big stupid action thing happen, and then he has to be the superhero in that moment. And that's really what Batman Begins has. I agree that Batman Begins was the first real Hollywood I really do. I think it was the first one to ever treat Batman correctly, as a character. I think every other Batman film before it was people who didn't read Batman comic books and they didn't study the material. I like Spider-Man 1 a lot, yeah. Because every time I rewatch like Batman or Batman Returns, I'm like, this isn't Batman. He's not a detective. He's doing almost no martial arts. Bruce Wayne's character is not like this in any version of the comic book. They don't do Alfred right, and most of the time they don't do Commissioner Gordon right. They don't give the villains plans. They just make them people who kind of fall into something. There's all sorts of stuff like that. The original Batman films were... It's just like Batman's a character, this blockbuster character, but the movies really aren't about Batman. They're about the villains. And they're about these silly plot lines and gags and stuff like that. And they try a little bit. Batman Forever did try, I think, out of the 4 the most with Chase Meridian and Bruce Wayne. I think that movie was trying to make Bruce Wayne a character. All right, well, you have a good night, Raven. I'm really glad you come here too. But thinking about it, yeah, I think like before Mask of the Phantasm, but that really wasn't like a Hollywood movie. The the problem with the Batman movies before is they weren't really about Batman, and they weren't really good representations of Batman's character if you're a Batman fan. And Batman Begins was the film where it's like, oh yeah, this is why people like. I mean, and don't wrong, it's still not perfect. There's supernatural elements missing that are in Batman. You know, the Bat voice is cringe, and there's things, but you know, there's that moment in Batman Begins, right, where he gets the cop guy, the guy that's from the comic books. His name is slipping me right now, and I don't know why. He's a famous character. He's in the animated series. But there's that moment that she yeah, the terrible character from Batman Forever, Nicole Kidman. So there's that moment where he grabs the guy with the bat grapple, I guess, or it's oh crap, I'm such a Batman fan and I can't remember the basic terms right now. The bat gun that shoots that thing, but he grabs that guy in the rain, and the guy's there, and he goes, "I'm sorry, I swear to God, I swear to God, I swear to God." And then Christian Bale grabs him, and he goes, "Swear to me." That's badass. Like, that's Batman. That's stuff that would be straight up in the comic books. Him grabbing a guy and looking at him and saying, "Swear to me." You could totally see that in a panel of a Batman comic book, and not just presentation, because people get obsessed with the aesthetics of like the Tim Burton films or the other films, and they're like, this is what I think Batman should look like. That's fine, but they ignored that a lot of the writing is completely off with this stuff. In that moment, that's a Batman moment. That's something that somebody would put in a comic book. Christian Bale grabbing him and going, "Swear to me," and then throwing the guy down to land. That's super on point for Batman, how Batman handles things. So there's moments like that Nolan really got it right. I'm not saying he did it perfect. I still don't think we've gotten the perfect Batman in a movie yet. But Batman Begins really gets a lot of the other stuff right. Like Alfred and Lucius Fox. And, you know, fleshing out Bruce's parents in a way the other movies never did. We actually get to spend some time with his parents and building relationships and all that. So that was the thing I always liked about Batman Begins. It was like, oh wow, there's actually a story here with characters that actually feel like people who are, you know, because there's two scenes that are wonderful that I was watching last night on Batman Begins again. There's really a couple scenes. The car chase, right? You know, that car chase is really good because it's not the spectacle of the sequence like it is in some other Batman movies before that one. It's the emotional content. He's trying to save Rachel, right? So you have this clock thing. Rachel's gonna die, and there's that moment where, you know, she's almost gone to the fear toxin, and then Christian Bale yells, "Rachel!" and he stops doing the voice and he breaks out his real voice and goes, "Rachel!" It's a really great moment. It's humanity really coming through, and I think his bat voice is the best in Batman Begins. But then there's that party scene that comes after, where he has to lie to the family. I mean, not to the family, but to the guests at the party and kick them out and pretend he's drunk. Christian Bale's really good in that scene. It's really funny. And I like about that scene is he doesn't want to do that. It's a movie about a guy who has to do these things he doesn't want to do. You really feel for him. He's going through an issue, like a crisis. Like, he has to act a certain way and he doesn't want to do it. He has to deal with, you know, he doesn't want to kick these people out of his house, but he doesn't know what to do. And he realizes he screwed up with Rachel. Rachel! He realizes, like, he's basically put Rachel in this situation and made things worse for her. And this is the moment he's like, man, shit's getting real. I screwed up. And that's what's great thing, because he's safe as Batman, but you really feel that struggle he goes through. There's a lot of conflict with his character and keeping his family name and what that means to him, and it's losing his mansion. And there's so much, there's symbolism in a lot of that stuff, but it's also just good character work. I think that Jake Gyllenhaal would be an amazing Batman. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is an incredible actor. He'd be a great Batman. So I think that's a great choice, honestly. Would Ben Affleck's Batman movie have been perfect Batman movie, or do you agree with me that Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman was overrated? I mean, I think he was only praised like that because he was the only good thing of, like, Batman v Superman. But I definitely like the John Hamm idea. Although I think John Hamm should just be in everything. Should Nolan save the DCU? I think he could benefit it. I think if he actually worked on some stuff that could really benefit them. I don't think he worked on Man of Steel that much, even though he had a producer credit. But, you know, whatever. But yeah, I'm all for I'm all for John Hamm or Jake Gyllenhaal. I get Jake Gyllenhaal, he's younger though, so I get why they would go with that. John Hamm is like pushing 50. But, you know, John Hamm's a pretty nice looking 50. If we're being honest here, folks. I mean, really. Rachel should have been played by a better looking actress in Best. Well, you know what's weird? Maggie Gyllenhaal was really hot back in the day. Like, go back and watch Donnie Darko. She's adorable. It's how Wally Pfister lit her in Dark Knight. He makes her look terrible. I was watching Donnie Darko like a few weeks ago, and she is cute as buttons in that movie. Like her nose and her body. She's adorable, so I don't know what happened. And Katie Holmes I thought was really cute back in the day, so I don't... It's like Wally Pfister's work. Even though in Inception he did a great job lighting Marion Cotillard, but... those Batman movies, he didn't do the women he didn't do them a good service with his lighting choices, I gotta say. And a lot of it is that. It really is. I love that video of Nolan hamming it in the Man of Steel interviews. Yeah. I would love a Martian Manhunter movie. I would love Martian Manhunter. For sure. John Jones. He's even though it sounds like a gay film, really, Manhunter. But but I think he's could be more interesting than Superman, really. Oh man, the Batman films have really good cinematography. The Nolan films, Wally Pfister. Batman Begins has like David Lean shit in it, and Dark Knight has gorgeous photography. I mean, they were nominated for Academy Awards. I mean, there's good cinematography in those Batman movies. Really better cinematography than the majority of superhero films. Wally Pfister does much better work on those films than you'll see in your typical superhero film. Not that superhero films have bad cinematography, but... Young Justice, the cartoon? Amazing. Great show. Great writing. Kind of reminds me of Avatar. The Last Airbender. Big fan of it. Katie, Maggie, and Scarlett have aged worse than shit. Yeah, I know. Scarlett Johansson has aged bad. I don't know what the hell. Even just like 5 years ago, she looked amazing, and now it's like, whoa. I recently watched Lawrence of Arabia for $5. Sweet, man. I watched that film like a year ago. I hadn't seen it in a while. I have seen it, obviously, but I hadn't watched it. I've never been a huge fan of it. I really do love the editing of it. The way it's put together is incredible and unique and groundbreaking. And I like Peter O'Toole's performance and all that. But I do think there's, like, chunks of that movie that have aged quite a bit. But the majority of Lawrence of Arabia is still really great and epic and interesting. And it's great storytelling and all that, yeah. But I much prefer, like... I don't know. I much prefer The Bridge on the River Kwai. I don't know. I've never quite got the Lawrence of Arabia as like one of the great 20 greatest movies ever thing. I think she aged bad. Yeah, did you see her Infinity War? She looked like a gender studies teacher. Her face, her haircut, the way her face looked. Go back to like when Lost in Translation came out and how adorable she was at like 18, or go just look at when like even Lucy came out a few years ago. But yeah, the way she wears her makeup now and some of her, yeah, she doesn't look nearly as good as she used to. I don't think she's aged horribly, but yeah, she's definitely lost something that she had. Because, I mean, everyone used to crush on her. It was all about ScarJo. I mean, she was like, in many ways, she was like the sex symbol of the last decade. And you know, I mean, there was other acts. Jennifer Lawrence had that for a while, but really, Scarlett Johansson really took that mantle. And I remember when it was happening. I remember when I was like a teenager and everyone started talking about her. Because, you know, she had that face, and then her body was bomb. She looked like an old Hollywood starlet, and Scarlett the Starlet, and she kind of has that raspy voice that's really attractive. She has a very attractive voice. Hey, what's up, Noel? Welcome to the show. We got Noel Nation in here, baby. Uncle Drew, $15.5 million. This is a weird film, man. I've been seeing the trailers to this film for months, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Shaquille O'Neal, Nick Kroll, Tiffany Haddish, from Charles Stone III, the director of Lila and Eve, Tekken, Mr. 3000. Oh, and Drumline, man. Yeah, Drumline. That was a popular movie back in the day. Not a bad movie either, Drumline, if we're being honest. Yeah, this is Shaq as an old man basketball player playing Nick Kroll. a Jewish guy in basketball and all that. I don't know. This movie looks absolutely ridiculous. This has to almost all be a black audience going to see this movie, and I hate to put it that way, but this is ridiculous. 15.5 million. I don't know what the budget of this movie is, so who knows, but Scarlet, the Starlet Harlot. That's funny. I wonder if the Ghost in the Shell live action fiasco took a toll on ScarJo's body or something. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I agree. Her chest is definitely... Her body don't hurt. For sure. I don't think it's just the blonde hair. I think it's how they had her makeup and lit. I think she's looking a little older. I've even seen her in interviews, and she's just looking a little older now. You know, and you know it's fine, and she is older. I mean, that's the thing. She is older. I mean, she's gonna be 40. You know, she's not. It's, you know, down the road. She's not a kid. So I acknowledge that. You know, she's not like 20. She's not 28 anymore. So I understand this is normal. I'm not gonna pretend that, you know, like everybody, you know. Oh, Carrie-Anne Moss. Yeah, Carrie-Anne Moss was an extremely good-looking woman in the first Matrix and like Memento. I was rewatching The Matrix like a few weeks ago, and I was like, man, wow, she is really good-looking. Like it's crazy how good-looking she is. Okay, so this is an okay opening weekend, really. I mean, this certainly is faring better than Steel and Shazam. So there you go, Shaq. Shaq's making a comeback, but he's been here for years. I mean, I like Shaq. I'm not gonna talk trash. He seems like a nice guy, you know. And obviously, I like basketball, so I like Shaquille O'Neal. You know, good for him. Basketball movie's not a big genre, though. Even Semi-Pro, the Will Ferrell movie, didn't do that great. I don't think basketball's a big genre. What happened to Carrie-Anne Moss? She does like television. But I miss her. I really like. I think Carrie-Anne Moss is a really good actress. Stop objectifying Wallman, Pat. And Carrie-Anne Moss was sexy as hell in the first Matrix. Other movies too. Yeah, she really was. I won't deny that. And she has a lot of. I mean, she's kind of awesome in the Matrix. Like, she's really likable, and I think a big benefit to that movie. That all the performances in that movie is that they're crowd pleasing performances. It's not like people you'd give Oscars to, but the way she plays her part in Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu and Hugo Weaving, it's really, it's like in that Star Wars way, the way Harrison Ford and Luke Skywalker and then played their roles. It's very likable blockbuster acting. You end up really liking those characters a lot. It's what's unfortunate about the sequels, is that you did want to spend more time with Neo, Trinity, Morpheus, and all them. I did. They're really likable characters. Will you be doing a video review of her? I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about talking about her a lot. I've been thinking about the movie a lot recently because it's my favorite movie the last few years. And I know every video essay channel did a her video and talked about stuff, so I'm trying to find a new angle to it, I guess. I need a remake of Shazam right now. Did you see the Joe Pesci Goodfellas rap? Unfortunately. Last basketball movie I saw was Space Jam. They're supposed to be working on Space Jam 2 with LeBron. Pat, if you don't like Uncle Drew, then you're a racist. I guess you got me there. You got me there, my friend. Castle, White Men Can't Jump was really good. White Men Can't Jump is really good. That is a really good movie. I agree. Why does James Gunn keep putting his foot in his mouth? Because he's your typical Hollywood leftist. You know, I mean, he's saying every cliche thing they've all been doing for the last year. I don't know, Craig. You don't think like the Matrix Revolutions or whatever? I mean, that's a pretty bad movie. That's a pretty bad movie. It's got some really stupid stuff in it. Semi-Pro was excellent. Is Sicario 2 any good? I like the first one, but I don't think they have Denny back. No, they don't. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Wake up, Noel. White Man Can't Jump is probably my favorite Woody Harrelson movie. It's a good film. I mean, it really is. It's a solid movie with solid characters in the world, and it holds up. I have a soft spot for pretentiousness. I mean, God, The Matrix sequels, man. I mean, I don't even care that they're pretentious. I really don't. I don't care that the philosophy and all that stuff's bullshit. It's mainly that they kill the mythology of the Matrix that bothers me. I really don't have an issue with the Wachowskis putting in a bunch of pseudo-philosophical bullshit and, you know, trying to make a super smart blockbuster that's not as deep as they think it is. My main issue is what they do with the world building in the universe. They destroy it. They destroy all the cool stuff about the Matrix. I mean, they really ruin it. They ruin so much of what makes the first movie awesome, and that's what... Okay. That's really what ticks me off about it. Okay, Jesus Christ. You know, that really what got me. You ever see The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh? I think so. If they're doing a sequel, could please not get Billy West to voice Bugs Bunny ever again? That wasn't one of his better voices, I must admit. I remember Sam Raimi was supposed to do a remake of The Shadow, but I think that was Darkman. Now he can't get the rights, but still. Oh, I would love Sam Raimi's The Shadow. Holy crap. Although The Shadow from the 90s isn't a bad movie. I really think people don't give that movie enough credit. I think that's a really fun movie. In fact, I enjoyed that movie more today probably than Tim Burton's Batman, if we're being honest. I probably enjoy that film a little bit more. Alright, let's get to the box office addict film of the week. Sicario 2. $19 million. They should have just called it Sicario 2. I gotta say, this is a shockingly good opening weekend. Like, cause... I mean, did Sicario just build up a cult following on home video? Because we gotta go back here, right? Sicario was a very critically acclaimed film. It had 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, 82 on Metacritic. It got nominated for 3 Oscars: sound mixing, cinematography, score. I think Benicio del Toro deserved a supporting acting nomination at that. But that was from the great Denis Villeneuve, who went on to make Blade Runner 2049, which bombed, unfortunately. And, you know, he made Prisoners, which I thought Prisoners deserved to be a much bigger hit than it was, but it wasn't a bomb. But, like, we go back to Sicario. That film had a $30 million budget with Emily Blunt, Josh Brolin, and all that. And it opened at $12 million, which was an okay opening weekend. A lot of people thought this film was going to open higher to, like, $20 million. The thing I liked about this movie is it kind of felt like Silence of the Lambs meets Training Day. Now, I have huge issues with this movie, especially Emily Blunt's character. And I think Taylor Sheridan's script has some huge flaws, but the whole structure of it, the third act and scenes of this movie are first rate. There's filmmaking, action scenes, moments in this film that are first rate that feel like No Country for Old Men at its best. Denis Villeneuve's direction on this film is incredible. I just think that it has some things that people really know. I think particularly the lead character I don't like, and I don't like how she doesn't really have an arc character. And I know it's because Benicio del Toro is the main character and all that, but the first, like, 45 minutes of the movie, it feels like this epic on the drug war, and it really feels like you're on to something special. And then it kind of becomes more formulaic, and it ends up at this point. It's not... None of it's bad. I like the whole movie. I think it's a really good movie. I like this movie a lot. But I've never been overwhelmingly in love with it like some people. Very tense movie, though. Very good. But really, when you look at it, it wasn't a big hit. $46 million domestic, $84 million worldwide. Now, Arrival was a big hit his following film. Now, don't get me wrong, this movie made some profit. It wasn't a bomb. But, you know, who knew Sicario 2 would open so well? I mean, it opened better than the first one. Usually that doesn't happen with a film like this. Like, I thought the sequel would open about the same. Josh Brolin is definitely not the biggest star in the world. But he definitely has a lot going for him right now, for sure. I feel like Sicario might be one of those films. Is Razorfist nothing more than a rage monkey on Twitter and YouTube? He's not as interesting as he thinks he is. I could say that about Razor, but I still think Razor's a very good content creator and a very funny, entertaining guy. It makes me cringe that he brags that he wrote an essay in college about Blade Runner and he watched the movie 300 times, and that's supposed to be impressive. Who hasn't written an essay about Blade Runner? I could write an essay about Blade Runner in 10 minutes. Like a college essay? Okay. Like, I don't get why that was supposed to be an impressive thing. Like, oh wow, you wrote an essay about Blade Runner? Wow. You mean a film that everyone gets the subtext to? And, like, it's a film everybody talks about in that way? Or, you know, okay. I have issues with Arrival. I think Arrival's third act has some serious issues. And I have some issues with Prisoners too. Just Denny's a great director. He's like, I mean, he's got David Fincher levels of talent. I think he's amazing. I'm not trying to dog on Ray. I like Razor. I just, yeah, I do think one thinks of himself very highly. I don't know if it's quite earned. So, 12.1 million was the opening for the first Sicario, and 84 million worldwide on a $30 million budget. You know, this did okay. But it's not like a mind-blowing opening weekend. It's not as, you know, and I did not see this coming. I didn't think Sicario 2 would open this well. Nah. God, look at Josh Brolin, the year he's having, man. Deadpool 2 and Avengers, man. Well, that's Benicio del Toro. I don't know why I accidentally didn't click on that, but I was going to click on Josh Brolin, sorry. Here we go. Look at the year Josh Brolin's having. Man, put him up to 6.6 billion worldwide. Yeah, and then he's gonna be in the Deadpool sequels and the Avengers sequels. So good for him. Love Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin's great. This is a great opening weekend, considering that the first film opened a few $1 million less. This film does not have the critical acclaim of the first film. That first film had great reviews. This film has okay reviews. It's almost like the first one really caught on with like certain types. And I don't want to like stereotype this, but I feel like a lot of those like, I feel like bro or mechanic type guys or gun type of guys or like, I don't know. I feel like, you know, like tattoo guy. Like I'm trying to think of something, but I think that movie really caught on, Sicario, just from what I've seen. And I think it got really big on Netflix, and I think it was on there or something. But I saw people start posting stuff about it. So Sicario really became like more popular on home video. And you know, you think about John Wick 2 and how John Wick 1. So, you know, June 29th, 2018, this came out. I believe the first one came out 3 years ago. It might have been 2 years ago, actually. Let's go back and look. It was 3 years ago. So for a 3-year wait to have a new Sicario film with, you know, like 65% on Rotten Tomatoes, it doesn't have this critical acclaim. It's a damn good opening weekend. All around. So that's why I wanted to make it the movie of the week, because this is impressive. Without Denis Villeneuve and all that, and the director, a lot of people don't know, and it's just relying on you knowing Sicario and seeing Benicio del Toro go around and shoot people, and you know, and so $35 million budget that opening weekend with 27 million worldwide. This film should make profit. Who knows? This film could make 100 million. We don't know. We have to see how the word of mouth goes and all that, and how this plays out. But I'm impressed. All around, good opening weekend. I thought making a Sicario sequel was a bad idea, because I was like, why would you make a sequel? Like, how much money could it make and all that? But now I see it, I'm like, oh well, it was a good idea to make a Sicario sequel, and they kept the budget low. So kudos to Sony on this one. Good job. Good job. Del Toro probably shouldn't have put Last Jedi on his resume. That probably didn't hurt. Pat, my boss said his Arrival is boring until one stupid reveal at the end. I disagree. I actually think the stuff before that's when the movie's interesting, before the reveal. I think the first, like, hour is the best part of the movie. Big time. Josh Brolin's definitely not the biggest star, but he's doing well. For sure. No, Josh Brolin's having a good career. Definitely, no question. Is it Blade Runner shown in every film? Yes. It's that film. I mean, I know Razor gets mad about it, because back in the 90s, not everybody loved Blade Runner, and then in the 2000s, it became a big thing. And I get what he means. But yeah, like, every film buff seen Blade Runner and talks about it and understand. I mean, I also just don't think it's as deep as amazing as he makes it out to be. And I know that's just disagreeing on opinion. But I love Blade Runner. It's one of my favorite movies, but he acts like it's like it's got the most depth ever, and it's like I just don't agree with that. I think a lot of it's on the surface level. I don't think it's that hard to get Blade Runner. No, Batman Begins doesn't really suffer from CGI. It's held up. It still looks good. I liked Arrival well enough, but I do agree it loses steam in the third act. Plus, the lady's decision at the end of the movie was so selfish it infuriated me. Pat, Screenwrite said there's going to be a third Sicario movie. Thoughts? Well, if this one does, well, go ahead. I'm up for a trilogy. You know, I haven't seen this movie, so I don't know if I'll like it or not, but I like the characters. I definitely like Benicio del Toro was in this role. I mean, it's not Traffic. I definitely like Traffic a lot more than Sicario. But, you know, it doesn't have to be. My biggest issue with the first movie, and a lot of it, was that subplot with the cop and his kid that was just there so you could have that third act scene where the cop gets shot and the kid kicks the soccer ball. I feel like you could have cut that whole subplot out and it wouldn't have hurt the movie one bit. I don't think that added anything, and it made the movie more obvious than it needed to be. We just needed to see the kids playing soccer at the end. A good editor would have cut that stuff out of the movie. A good editor would have cut that whole subplot out and just had the cop get shot at the end and have the kid play soccer. Outside of that, though, the main stuff of Sicario, with them just, you know, the opening scene and them going around and the highway sequence, that stuff's intense. It's good stuff. Yeah, I like Denis Villeneuve. I mean, as a director, he's almost faultless. Really. Like, all the issues with this movie's come down to the scripts that he didn't write. I mean, they come down to issues I have with some of the screenplays. His actual directing is pretty much on point with every single one of those movies. He's a phenomenal director. It's his framing, the way that he cuts things and puts them together, his restraint when he needs to be restrained. I mean, he really, his choices, his lighting even is very downplayed and everything like that. He doesn't really... And then Blade Runner really just confirmed it, that this guy's like really talented. I mean, he's really a major player, and he's made several films that now where he's shown this off. I mean, he is like, I mean, he's reached that David Fincher level because he's made like 6 movies now, and they're all got great directing. So, you know, I hold the guy in high regard. He definitely is a visualist, you know. I agree, screenwriting is something that's kind of lacking today. Oh, I love Josh Brolin in Men in Black 3, yeah, sure. Any thoughts on the PS4 God of War soft reboot that came out recently? It's great. Really fun game. Great graphics, the one camera thing, walking through like it's one shot. Fun fight combat system. Good story. You know, not perfect. I wouldn't call it a masterpiece, but yeah, fun game. He definitely is one of the best modern day directors, there's no question. He's just good at the job. I also think that way about Matthew Vaughn. I was talking to Blood Money about it last night. You know, Matthew Vaughn's just a good director. He makes his movies better than they need to be. He actually has style. And it's not always that his scripts are great or his writing, it's just his directing. He's a good filmmaker. He really knows how to put a film together, and montages and all that stuff. His stuff's good. Lately, I've been seeing more talk about Snyder's Watchmen movie all of a sudden. Do you think that movie was ahead of its time back then? No. I think people like to think that it was ahead of its time and it's going to be like Blade Runner, but I don't think it was ahead of its time. I don't think it'll... I mean, I don't dislike Watchmen. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not the future of cinema like some people seem to think it is. Or, I mean, it probably would do better today if you mean like that. Do I think it would be more successful today than when it came out? Probably. It'd probably make more money now. Probably wouldn't have bombed as bad. But I think the storytelling was always going to suffer and hurt the movie. Does Michael Mann still make movies? Not too often. And the last couple of movies he made was not very good. Yes, a good storyteller and a good director are different things. You could be a good director and be good at your job. You know how to put a movie together. Yes, I definitely noticed that. John McTiernan, for example, is that. Although I think he's a good storyteller, but he's a great... how he cuts in the moving camera to another moving camera. And he talks about it being like keys, music keys. Terrific. McTiernan's super smart. But yeah, the way he immerses you in Die Hard and Predator is really great. Great directing. It's really, the script of Predator, it's decent. But it's really the way it's made. And even Die Hard, I think, has tons of great dialogue and acting. But, you know... It's not like a brilliant piece of writing, but the filmmaking is exceptional. You're so immersed in the film. You are in that tower with Bruce Willis, and you feel it the whole time, and it really puts you in that spot, and it makes the action scenes more involving and all of his choices. I mean, really, he deserved a Best Directing nomination for Die Hard. He did a phenomenal work. I would like Matthew Vaughn to do a Flash film, sure. For sure. It might be something to do with special effects, or it might just be the fact they know they can get away with it. The new Sonic the movie is going to tank. They were considering Paul Giamatti and Adam Sandler. Jim Carrey's in it. Jim Carrey's going to play Dr. Eggman. That's weird, huh? Wait, is Solo still in theaters? I kind of forgot about it. I think everyone else did too. Yeah, it's almost out of theaters. It's only at 600 and wait, no, where's it at? Oh wait, it's in 1600 theaters. My bad. Or you could be a later career George Lucas and be good at both directing and writing. What? Or you could be a later career George Lucas and be good at both. Or is that a joke? Are you just making a joke? George Lucas was certainly not good at directing and writing. Either one. In his later career, obviously. I like American Graffiti. All right, so that's Sicario 2. Great job. Great job from Sony and the filmmakers, and kudos to them, you know. That's a surprisingly good opening weekend. But to be fair, it is a busy summer. Everything's kind of overperforming for the most part outside of Solo. Everything's doing really well. People are going to the movie theater. This is one of those years people are wanting to go to the movies. So this is a busy, busy year. It's already broke the record. I don't think John McTiernan's still in prison. They'll find a way to ruin Sonic, probably turn him into a transgender SJW fights against evil capitalists. That sounds hilarious. I agree, Spielberg is a great storyteller and director. Yes. No, American Graffiti, it feels like Gary Kurtz or Coppola had something to do with those performances. I mean, no, Sonic the Hedgehog could make money. There's plenty of dumb shit like that makes money. Pat, have you seen the Star Wars Christmas special? Yes. Yes, I have, many times. Are you planning on any other content on your channel in the future? What do you mean, any other content? Like different kinds of content? Like doing new things? I'm a Sonic fan. Maybe it's just laziness. Just put some action in the movie and nobody will care. You know, maybe a Sonic movie could be fun. I mean, seriously, I know it sounds stupid, but you know, maybe if it's a fun it's an animated movie. It could be fun. It doesn't have to be terrible. I mean, it probably will be, but that doesn't mean it won't be fun. Gotta go fast! Ridiculous. Okay, Incredibles 2. After a somewhat steep drop in its second weekend, you know, like 60-something%, I think it was like 65%, it's bounced back in its third weekend. $45.5 million. 43% drop. It's at 439 million worldwide. The film is a lock for over 500 million. It'll be the third film of the year to make 500 million. It should be able to make 550 million. So even though it dropped pretty hard in its second weekend, and you know, it's not holding great for an anime. Oh, 56%. I was off. Even though it's not holding necessarily great for an animated film, it's still going to be such a mega hit that it doesn't matter. It's made 646 million worldwide. I think that puts it past the original Incredibles, not adjusted for ticket price inflation, obviously. Yeah, 633 million. And Brad Bird's biggest film worldwide is Mission Impossible 4, which this will pass. So, this is really weird how many... Yeah, look, Brad Bird, 620, 633, 646. He's the $600 million man. Except for Tomorrowland, which is more like Forgotten Land. And Iron Giant, which is unfortunately was a bomb, but one of my favorite movies. But yeah, The Incredibles... even adjusted for ticket price inflation, $384 million, this film has surpassed it. So this is officially made more, even when adjusted, which is impressive. That's not including home video. The Incredibles have been making money for a long time. So, yeah, this is a mega, mega hit. I have a review for this movie. Kudos to Brad Bird, the cast, Pixar. You know, it's already got to be made a profit. I'm sure this film cost $200 million, and I'm sure they spent... you know, a lot on marketing. But when you think about, yeah, I mean, the foreign box office, it hasn't opened everywhere yet. But this should be easily able to make 550 million, and then let's say 400 million. You know, $1 billion should happen. Just where the way it's going, $1 billion should happen. It's been out 3 weeks and it's at 650 million. At worst, this film will make 900 something million. So no matter what, this is a huge hit. It'll pass Finding Dory's box office. I don't know if it'll be able to pass the worldwide number of Finding Dory or like Toy Story 3. We'll have to wait and see. But who cares? It's still a huge hit. They're going to keep making sequels to their classics because why wouldn't you when they're making this kind of money? The goodwill has lasted for these films that they made in the 2000s because a lot of the people that love those movies when they were kids are adults now and are going to see these movies. Like, I saw The Incredibles 1 when I was 13 or 14, and I went and saw this movie at 28. You know, they're getting that audience. It really lasted. That's why I think a lot of those live action adaptations of the 90s Disney films, the Renaissance films, or even the Jungle Book, are doing so well, like Beauty and the Beast, because people who watched the movies when they came out or when they were kids are going to see them now as adults. Which shows that if you have good branding and you keep brand recognition, like Disney does so well, you can keep making money off the same properties for decades. And Disney's really smart about that. So yeah, great box office for Incredibles 2. It had a huge opening weekend, which I think was just, might even be what contributed to the drops, just because it kind of overperformed on opening weekend. But can't complain about $650 million. This is Brad Bird's biggest animated film. And it should become his biggest film of all time, passing Mission Impossible 4. So Brad Bird is back on top. So maybe he'll get some more work, live action work again. Any future videos of collabs? I'm gonna do something with like David Stewart again. That's for sure going to happen. We've been talking about doing another live stream. It feels like it's going in the same direction as the Woody Woodpecker movie. Oh man, Jesus. Great Sonic quote. Gotta go fast. The Sonic movie would be a live-action CGI hybrid, not a fully animated. Oh, is it? Oh, I thought it was just like an animated movie. Yeah, Sonic could work. You know, I've seen stuff that works. H. Bomber Guy made a Sonic anti-capitalism video. Oh, Jesus. Of course he did. Of course he did. I really like H. Bomber Guy's editings, but man, F that guy. I don't care if he's good at editing. Would you say your movie sucks as a film buff? Sure. Especially with modern films. I don't think he's seen a lot of stuff from... It just seems this way to me. I could be wrong. He doesn't seem to have seen a lot of classics. Like 30s, 40s, 50s. Or I've never heard him talk about them. That doesn't mean he hasn't seen them. And he doesn't seem to have seen a lot of comedies, like mainstream comedies from the 70s or 80s. I know he hadn't seen like Christopher Guest movies or Animal House or anything like that, but I think he's seen a lot of movies from the 90s and 2000s, and he sees a lot of films the last decade. And so yeah, I think he's seen, I mean, because you have to include modern films to be a film buff. You're not just a film buff because you saw every old film. So the guy watches a lot of movies, and he clearly likes to watch movies. So I'll definitely give him that. No, I'm going to be on World Class Bullshitters sometime this month. I don't know when. Me and Jeff don't really know. Yeah, I agree. H. Palmer Guy is a cunt. The bloody cunt. Maybe Incredibles 3 will be Ocean's 13, where it's as great as Incredibles 1. I would like that. I would like if Incredibles 3 was like that bounce back. Because for me, Incredibles 2 is like a big disappointment. I know a lot of people think it's amazing and as good as the first. I don't get it. I don't think it's anywhere as good as the first movie in terms of writing. I was so disappointed that most of the movie was the family at the house with Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl being that. I mean, that's so disappointing. I mean, part of the reason I wanted a sequel was to see the family work together and be a superhero team, and we didn't get that movie. I feel really shortchanged. They were trying to get Paul Rudd to play Tom, the police officer. Did Brando... Wait. Theo Brando. No, that's just the actor. Sorry. I was like, Brando? I thought you were talking about Marlon Brando. Yeah, at some point this month. I don't know when I'm going to be on. I got to stay in touch with them. Wish you were in World Class Bullshitters with Doomcock. It would be epic. Well, you guys got to keep harassing Jeff about me being on there, because I think he's... He doesn't see you guys write that anymore, because I told everyone I'm going to be on here. So you got to keep doing that. Like, hey, Please Rewind needs to be on here. Would you say you're incredibly disappointed? Did you hear about Kathleen Kennedy might be on the way out? I have heard that rumor, but I don't know if that's true or not. It would make sense, though. I think she's, you know, made some movies, some money. I think it's time for her to move on and let someone else kind of take over. I think it's a very practical decision at this point. It's got to be a stressful thing to be running Lucasfilm. Found Jurassic World 2 boring, as they spent the end of most at the mansion. Yeah, that was ridiculous. Which is better, Ocean's 11 or 13? I think Ocean's 13's better, actually. Although most people wouldn't say that. I think Ocean's 13's the best movie of that original trilogy. I think that one's the most fun. I think Pacino. Pat, I've been looking at more 70s detective comics, and you were right. The Bronze Age really is fun reads. Hard to find, though. They don't put them in trades. I know, they are. It is really fun reads. I tell people that all the time. The 70s detective comics really hold up. They're so fun. They're so well paced and all that. I'll harass Jeff for you to get you on the show. I mean, he said he's going to have me on the show. Pat, Jeff wants you on the High Council on 7/17. Wait, did he say that? Did he say that specific date? Because he asked me if I wanted to be on the High Council, and I told him I would rather be on a World Class Bullshitters video. And he was going to do a solo video with me, but he started doing those live streams, which became widely successful. I mean, those really took off for him. I'm happy for him. He's kind of creating a live stream channel now, you know, and that's really blown up for him. And he doesn't have to keep making those same videos. You know, because he's, you know, unfortunately he's had to, you know, you have to make those Star Wars videos, which he still makes, but I think he enjoys the live streams because he gets to say a lot more. Do one-on-one with Jeff or go on High Cancel so you can be a regular? I mean, I would at this point. I mean, you know, he just asked me what I wanted to do. He said, do you want to be on a regular? Because he said we should do this soon. And we were supposed to do it like this month, last month, June. And then he just got busy with the live streams. I started to notice it too. I'm like, man, you're live streaming a lot, which once again, that's fine. So it was kind of hard to schedule it. But he said that he was going to have me on. I just don't know when. I'm just waiting, honestly. I would go on, you know, at this point I'd go on anything. Just because I'd like to, you know, hang out and talk, and you guys could be there and we could have fun. That's really all it is. Bob Iger wants her out, but nobody wants to take over because she created a lot of division at Lucasfilm. I guess they have to hire me then, people. It's time for me to go take over Star Wars. Yes, thank God Red Letter Media redeemed themselves from the Black Fade review and actually did a real review. That made me very happy. The last one I caught live, he was talking a lot about the Bond films. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I wasn't able to tune in the last couple live streams because I was busy, but I do watch the live streams. And Jeff's a really nice guy, and he lives in Cincinnati, and I'm moving to Columbus, so that's really funny. Jeff is hosting the 7/17 episode of the High Council, and he said he would bring on the show. When did he say this, though? Did he say this a while ago? Because things have changed since from like 2 weeks ago, because we've been emailing each other. So I don't know any specific... Like, did he say that, like, this week? That he would put me on the High Council, or bring me on the High Council? I think I would do good on the High Council, personally. I mean, I like all those guys. I think they're funny, but I think I could do a good job on a High Council episode. It's not that I would, I mean, I don't really, you know, I don't need to be a regular member. I wouldn't care. Like, if they just wanted to have me on once and never have me on again, that's cool. You know, I appreciate it, but I think I would do a pretty good job on, you know, I think part of what makes that show work is bringing in new people, because it kind of creates new dynamics and new pathways to go down. I don't like the black fades either. I'd rather them just do skits because it's something. Yeah, I don't either. I don't even get the black fade joke. I understand the joke, but I don't get why they think that's funny. I really don't. I don't know why they would do that. It was kind of funny the first time they did it. He said it this week on his morning show. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess that changed because, yeah, he asked me, you can do what you want. He said, I want to do a solo video. Do you want to be on an episode of World Class Bullshitters or the High Council? And I said I wanted to, because I really like the World Class Bullshitter show personally. I like those guys and their show. I like their podcast a lot. And I wanted to go on there because I think those guys are funny, and I wanted to bounce off of them because the problem with the High Council I would have is just that you have to talk so much about Star Wars. And I like you know, I like talking about it, but I'm just burnt out. Where, you know, I feel like if we want World Class Bullshitters, we could just talk about anything, and we could just be guys bullshitting, having fun. But that's fine. You know, if I have to go on the High Council to be on there, I will. I'll do what he wants. You know, I sound like I'm like a slave. I'll do what you want, Master Jeff. Thank me, Daddy. Thank me good. He said it this week on his morning show. Okay. Well, then I guess you guys need to look out for that date. I mean, I could see that you get tired of them talking about the same topics, like they're always talking about Kathleen Kennedy, Ryan Johnson. I can understand that. I think they still have nice little fun side conversations that don't relate to that, like when they answer questions in the chat. But I can understand that point of view. I really like World Class Bullshitters though. I think they have a good show. I think that show's really solid. Personally, I would want you on World Class Bullshitters because that's what I wanted to do. Was just be on a regular podcast with those guys. I never really planned on going on the High Council. I know that's what people want. A lot of people want me on the High Council to go in there, but but whatever, if I gotta go on the High Council, I'll make it something else. Okay, crazy. I'll make it not just a Star Wars conversation. I'll turn it into something else. I'll bring up Herzog. Let's talk about Vim vendors, right? I'll throw something else in there. I'll throw a wrench in the middle of that Star Wars conversation and bring it back. I don't have something against Ethan or Geeks and Gamers. No, I do not. No. I just, they make a lot of videos that are always Star Wars. That's just not my thing. I think they're funny guys. I think they're entertaining guys. I like them. I just get a little tired of every video being Star Wars, but that's just me. That's fine. I like them. I like content where people do different things a lot, and they, Geeks and Gamers, he kind of does. I don't even think it gets them personally though. But I don't know if it's the best way to make content. Like, you look at his God of War review, it's got 2,000 hits, but a Star Wars video gets 50,000 hits. You make all your content that's big Star Wars, that's all people want to watch. And then you don't get to have people watching stuff that isn't Star Wars related. And how long is that going to last? So I don't know. But I like them as people. They seem like cool guys, for sure. Definitely. I have nothing, like, no personal issues. So just, it's a preference thing. I wouldn't make content like that. But granted, these guys all have more subscribers than me and fans, so what do I know? I'm not saying I have the secret, but I just wouldn't, I couldn't do that. I couldn't just make one, I couldn't make Star Wars videos all the time. You and Cecil would be great. I would love to talk to Cecil. Yeah, that would be fun. I mean, you guys are the reason that this is even happening. You guys harassed Jeff. He told me in the email, he goes, man, I get asked about you every day. And that's what keeps it going. You guys asking him, like, hey, man, can you get this guy? Because it gives the illusion that I'm way more popular than I could be. But also, I think I could contribute to the show. I really do think I could bring, because I'm good at live streaming. I've been doing a solo live stream for 50 episodes. And Jeff's been doing the solo streams now, and I think he, he's good at it too. I think that. Also, I just think it keeps it fresh, like a good radio show. You need to bring in different people occasionally. I'm not saying I should be on all the time, but I think I could come in and make a fun episode. Sure. Do you guys like the new Kylo show? The My Dinner with Kylo? Even though nobody apparently has seen My Dinner with Andre, and they think that I wrote that all. I wasn't doing a movie parody, which is amazing. Well, you guys answer that, or we'll talk about some. Let's go to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Great second weekend. This film sucks, man. The reviews are bad. Everyone's but man, people freaking love those dinosaurs, man. Holy shit. I mean, even though this isn't making the money the first one did, right? It's still, last week was a surprisingly good opening weekend at 148 million. Way better than anyone thought it would do. This is a good second weekend. 60 million, 59% drop, $264 million domestic. But let's look at this worldwide total. The film was at 711 million last week. This week, 932 million. $170 million budget, $185 million marketing promotion. But man, this film is making tons of money. Like, once again, I get it. It's not making what Jurassic World made. All right, Jurassic World made 652 million, 208 million opening weekend, 1.6. Second weekend was 106 million. I mean, that's terrific box office. But still, for really, I never would have thought this film was going to be such a big hit. This is going to make $350 million domestically, for sure. It's going to make 1.1 billion, or even 1.2 to 1.3. It should be able to make over 800 million internationally alone. So 1.2 seems like a lock. 1.2 billion dollars worldwide. 170. I mean, even with the expensive marketing budget and all that, this film's gonna have huge profit. Jurassic World 3 is a lock. This is a full-on franchise now. That's huge. I mean, you know, because really, when you think about how bad the reviews are for this movie and how it didn't have the same hype as the first one and all that, the fact that it still had such a good opening weekend and still making so much money, the fact that it's, you know, doing on par worldwide with like a Black Panther or The Last Jedi, not necessarily domestically, that's good numbers. And the budget's not that high. 170 million is on a high budget. They've been really good with these Jurassic Park budgets, probably because dinosaurs, well, honestly, the films don't look that great. That might have something to do with it. But the first film cost 150 million and this one 170. Those are good. You know, they didn't spend 220 million on this. So good job all around. Let's see where that puts Chris Pratt's worldwide box office. It's 7.6 billion. He'll be over 8 billion. This is huge for Chris Pratt, who was also in Infinity War. Bryce Dallas Howard, I don't think this will help her career at all because I don't think people watch these movies for her. Unfortunately, this will probably keep Colin Trevorrow around because, yeah. Oh yeah, I forget you dislike. I don't dislike dinosaurs. I just said I don't get why everyone's obsessed with them like they are. I like dinosaurs. Ethan's content is okay. I don't care for his live streams anymore. I haven't watched one in a while. But that's because I've been moving. I do watch all those guys. I saw a little bit of My Dinner with Andre. Yeah, because I had some people saying, man, where'd you come up with this? And I'm like, well, it's My Dinner with Andre. Sweet, your movie sucks just did a quickie vid for Upgrade. Yeah, man, Upgrade. When will Upgrade be on DVD? I'm assuming very soon. Pat, do you think Bryce Dallas Howard is a cut-rain version of Jessica Chastain? As an actress, yeah. Although I think she's... I know Jessica Chastain's pretty good looking in some movies, actually, but I like her body a little. Oh, man, this has been a sexist box office act. I gotta stop it. I really do. Yes, he directed The Orphanage and The Impossible and A Monster Calls. 3 movies that I like a lot. I like all of this guy's movies. I think he's a very good director. So it's upsetting. I'm glad that it's successful for him. I mean, I like Ethan's stuff. Yeah, I mean, I haven't got to watch it recently. I mean, I mainly was like a World Class Bullshitters fan. That was where I kind of got into a lot of this. Yeah, my issue's more dinosaur. I mean, I like a good dinosaur movie. I just don't think we've had a good one in a long time. I wish other dinosaur movies existed that weren't Jurassic Park. But yeah, what's there to say? This film's going to make $1 billion. This is a huge year at the box office. You got Infinity War. Since this is episode 50, let's really talk about this box office here. You got Infinity War making $2 billion and 670 mil domestic. Black Panther making 1.3 billion with 700 mil domestic. You got Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom's going to make $1 billion. You got Deadpool 2 making 300 mil domestic. You got Incredibles 2 is going to make 500 mil domestic. Could make $1 billion. So that would put 4 on the list right there. Ready Player One did very well worldwide. Domestically, it was a little bit of a disappointment. Rampage, not a bomb, really, when you think about it. Solo definitely was. Look at The Quiet Place, $329 million on a $17 million budget, $187 million domestically. So Ocean's 8's doing very well. You know, there was some bombs, Red Sparrow and stuff, Pacific Rim 2, you know, those movies didn't do so well, Wrinkle in Time, you know, there are bombs, but for the most part, even Game Night, 117 million on its budget. There's been a lot of surprising hits this year. And movies have been, especially the main movies, the main blockbuster films have all made money. I think the box office is already over 66 billion. And we still got the rest of the year. I mean, the year's not over. So this is a huge year. 2018 turned out to be a huge year at the box office. And we still got time. You know, we still got the Harry Potter sequel coming out at the end of the year, right? So that should make... This bodes well for that movie, to be honest. Because it seems like, especially this summer, like, this was a good summer to release movies. Everyone said it would be a crowded summer, but really, Solo, I don't think suffered from it being crowded. I just think people didn't want to see the movie. All these other films opened during the crowded summer, and they're all doing great. I mean, look right here. We got 105 million in just these 2 movies. You know, and then you got 125 million here, and then, you know, 40. And I mean, all the, you know, there's a lot of money right here. 2 movies both opened over 100 million 2 weekends in a row. Incredibles 2, then Jurassic World, and they're both making money. So there's plenty of room to go around, and Deadpool's making money, and Ocean's 8's making money, and Sanja, and that makes me think of Sanjaya from American Idol. Infinity War made a bunch of money. So yeah, there's a lot of wealth to go around. And all the horror films coming out have been making tons of money. Overboard made money. You know, good summer at the box office. This is busy, crowded summer. People are going, and there's more to come. It's been a very fun summer to talk about the box office. Really, they need to do dinosaurs as something other as movie monsters. Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of sick of the movie monster thing. They are too lazy to make accurate dinosaurs. Yes. I'm sorry I completely skipped over your super chat yesterday for no reason, and he's done it. Oh, you're talking about... Oh, I thought you were talking about me. I was like, did you give me a super chat and I missed it? I mean, he said that he's had a hard time organizing the super chats, if you're talking about Ethan. I've heard him say that he kind of gets mixed up. So I think that's what happens, is that he misses sometimes. I don't think he's as used to it as, like... Jeff's very good at the super chat stuff, or checking the chat. Sometimes it's just your ability to read things very quickly and organize them, you know. It is tough. Like when you're that busy, there's so many people leaving stuff, you know. It's easier for me, but I can get... So I don't think he's doing that for any personal reason. David Lynch's new book is out. The book is set up in a way that I've never seen a biography before. I will definitely check that out. Have you guys seen that Trumpy Bear commercial? I put it on Twitter. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. When you take the cape out. And I saw it on TV last night. I was sitting here watching Batman Begins and it came on as a commercial. Trumpy Bear made my golf game great again. Thanks, Trumpy Bear. And like, it's got the wig. I want one. I don't care if it's $20. I'm getting a Trumpy Bear. I love it. No one will ever make a better sci-fi movie than Back to the Future. I mean, I think that's the best, like, time travel action adventure. I think there's better science fiction, maybe. You know, like pure sci-fi, but populist science fiction. I think Back to the Future is very high up there, but Terminator is too. I hold them in very high regard. Are video games better than movies, or becoming better than movies, or do they have same of the? No. Video games are they're different. You play a video game and it's about gameplay and the immersion of the gameplay. It's not about the story and the writing. And most video game stories are pretty basic and crappy. Which I think people kind of overlook because it's a video game. There's a difference between a comic book and a movie. They're different mediums. They shouldn't be looked at as the same medium. If you like to play video games and you like gameplay, then yeah, video games are better. But if you like what movies are, which is watching something and seeing a storyboard told, then you like movies better. They're different. I mean, video games can incorporate things like sound and gameplay and storytelling, sure, but you know, it's not a video game if you're just watching a story be told. I've never liked that kind of video game. I think a video game has to be a video game. I mean, most people probably find them better nowadays. I think most people probably prefer to play an online game than go see a movie, though. So you might have a point. I think you might have a point there. Like, the Friday the 13th game, I have more fun playing that game than I have going to see any horror film I've seen. That so sucks. I haven't got to play the game the last, like, month. Ugh. I was playing that game, like, 5 nights a week. Out of the blue, what is your take on Sailor Moon? Some of the people who worked on Evangelion worked on Sailor Moon. I love Sailor Moon. I grew up on it, on Toonami. She is the one called Sailor Moon. She is the one. Sailor Moon! Big fan. Love the characters. Sailor Jupiter I had a big crush on. Love the music. I think it's got the perfect tone. It's Dragon Ball Z for chicks. It's amazing. I'm just a straight up Sailor Moon fan. No bullshit there. Like the whole thing. It's great. I miss Ethan portfolio reviews. I know they don't get as much views, but those. Is Brie Larson an SJW in your opinion? Yes. Yes, she is. And the thing is, almost every actor, filmmaker, or person in Hollywood right now is an SJW. So it's kind of doesn't even need to be said. What do you think of a Steven Soderbergh Ant-Man film? I'd be interested, but I would rather see Steven Soderbergh do his own thing than make a comic book movie, to be honest with you. I like Steven Soderbergh's movies because he actually makes original movies most of the time. I actually really like that about Steven Soderbergh. Besides him being a terrific filmmaker who's a huge influence on me, he's actually one of my biggest influences for how I like to direct and cut and think about things. Even though there's directors I think are greater, Soderbergh's work ethic and his kind of invisible nature as a filmmaker I really respect. I take a lot from him. He's someone I've studied thoroughly, listened to all of his commentaries, read every interview, watched his films, and really, you know, broke down the way they're put together. I'm a big fan of him. So I just prefer if he just kept doing his own thing and didn't go make Hollywood franchise films. I think that's one of the best things about his catalog, his filmography. I don't know why video game developers have been more in these movies. Maybe it's because, yeah, I saw Unsane. Maybe it's because they're seeing stuff like Marvel and the fans and the money. I mean, video game fans are pretty harsh. They will tell you off. There's a lot of negativity in the video, which I'm not knocking, but there is certainly like a different attitude, you know. Not that all fanboys can't be bad, but I think video game fans can be brutal. You have to be an SJW to survive in Hollywood. Yes. Yes, if you work in Hollywood, you have to lie, I would say, politically. Has Steven Soderbergh written any books on filmmaking? I don't believe so, but he possibly hasn't. But he does do commentary tracks and a lot of interviews, and he's been interviewed. I mean, I would highly recommend any of that stuff. And I would just recommend watching his films, all of them, and studying them. And really studying the shots and how he puts them together. He's great. I love Soderbergh. I mean, going way back, you know, Sex, Lies, and Videotape is a perfect indie film. King of the Hill is one of the most underrated coming-of-age films ever. Are you worried about Kristen Wiig, Cheetah, and Wonder Woman? I have no interest in Wonder Woman, too, but Kristen Wiig's a good actress, and she's probably a good choice, so I don't really have an issue with that. Oh, Robert Downey Jr. is not an SJW, though, just because he did an anti-Trump video. I don't think that makes him an SJW. And the way he did that video, he's like the best part of it. He's really funny in that video that Whedon wrote. I like how he doesn't overuse close-ups and lets the scene play out. Yes. Yes, he does. No, I did not. I'll save the Seth MacFarlane rant for a better day when I'm in rant mode. I'm not really in a rant mode. Blood Diamond is an underrated movie. I agree. I agree with you greatly on that. Very good film. Sorry if this was kind of a boring box office addict. I know we just we just stuck to the box office and normal conversations. Nothing too special. I didn't really come in with a lot of bits or anything like that, but you know, whatever. Not every show. You know, I thought the one last week was great, and the one, you know, I think the last few are great. So I just wanted to do, you know, kind of a boring normal episode, do the show, and talk to you guys. You know, and then get back to normal next week. Get back to the. But real quick, I think we need to have a word from our sponsor over at the Daily Wire. You might have recently saw him on Bill Maher's show. Good old Ben Shapiro is here to talk. So I'm gonna let Ben talk here for a second, and I'll be back after he's done. Howdy, folks. Hey there, gang. We're in a gang like an old Western movie, folks. How you doing? You like the cowboy hat, gang? I'm a Western cowboy now. A Jewish cowboy is what they call me, folks. Okay. All right. My wife's a doctor. She likes this cowboy hat. I wear it when I'm in bed with her. It's our role-playing. She likes to chase me around with a lasso, wrap it around my neck. It's amazing. It's great. Sometimes we cosplay with her in a Hitler outfit. And I'm the little Jew that she can't deny. So, we're here to talk about Blue Apron, folks. Okay? Blue Apron only cost $100 million every month. All right, folks? $100 million, gang. Now, you can afford that. And if you can't afford that, you're just really bad with money. And the idea that you think that I'm just saying that because I grew up in a life of privilege and I'm rich and I went to a really good college is absolutely ridiculous. And I don't appreciate you saying it, and it's anti-Semitic. All right? Okay. I was on the Bill Maher show. All right? I live in a mansion. My life's great. All right? I can play violin. Can you play violin? I didn't think so, folks. All right? Anyway, $100 million. Okay? You should be able to afford that. Okay, if you're good with money. and you know how do you know if you went to accounting school or just took a business class or anything like that, you should know this stuff, folks. Okay, so I don't want to hear that you can't afford $100 million a month. Okay, the only reason you're poor is because you're bad with money. So don't worry. So you could definitely afford Blue Apron. They send you the food. It's great. The food's already there. You just have to make it. They tell you how to cook it. It's basically having a 6-star meal, not even a 5-star meal, folks. It's a 6-star meal. And you get to make it, and it's great, and it tastes delicious. You don't have to go out and buy food. You don't have to go to the grocery store. I'm very busy with all my podcasts and shows and interviews. I'm super busy. My wife's busy. My wife's busy because she's a doctor. She's a doctor, and that makes her really busy. But it's really great, and you know, and I honestly highly recommend it. Also, you need to buy these watches. Okay, folks? Okay, I know that I was doing an interview, but I have to stop it, gang, so we can talk about the watches. It's okay. These watches are amazing. I don't care if people don't wear watches anymore in 2018. You should wear this watch because it's stylish and beautiful, folks. All right, gang? And the idea that you want to make some kind of stigma or call me out for being Jewish, all right, and just shilling stuff all the time and say that's some kind of stereotype about Jews is really ridiculous, okay? And anti-Semitic, and I don't like it. All right? I don't like you being a bigot. You're probably just a communist fool. I don't like your communism. Not right. Okay, folks? So get this watch, and then get this mattress, folks. Okay? There's a mattress. It's amazing. It's only $800. Why no mattresses? Well, just because they haven't been paying me enough. Okay? That's really what it is, Bathory. They used to give me a lot more for those mattresses. You know? The watch people just pay better, okay? Alright? Okay, that's what it is. Me and my wife, who's a doctor, okay, we have the mattresses we need, but everybody needs a new watch, alright? The watch market's really coming back, I tell you. It's really coming back, folks. Okay? I had my credit card open, and now 5 tabs have opened for Blue Apron. Good. That's good. That's what should happen. I'm glad you finally understand something. Maybe now you know how to spend your money wisely, alright? Are Jews even allowed to be gay? No, folks. No, we're not. Sorry, gang. No gangbang with dudes in the Jewish community, alright, gang? Okay? Alright? Okay, so we talked about the mattresses. We talked about the watches. The watches that you really need. They're really good. And we talked about Blue Apron. That's amazing. So, I love you guys. So, I'll see you cowgirls and cowboys later. Alright? Support the show. Thank you for being here for 50 episodes. Pat made me a lot of money to come do this. It's really great. It's really amazing. It's really good stuff. And you guys are awesome. All right, thank you. So please come subscribe to the Daily Wire and watch my show. And thank you. I thank you guys a lot. Bye, Ben. You have a good day, my friend. I'm really glad we could get Ben here. He's a good dude. I think that kid's going places. That little Benjamin Shapiro. I saw him play Schindler's List when he was like 10 years old. Great. Who cares if he doesn't like my tattoos? He's got reasoning. Tattoos never really work out for Jewish people, at least historically, you know. Pat, this is never boring. Not meaning to suck your dick. Yes, you are. You want to suck my dick, and I understand that, okay? Alright. Go down on me, okay? Alright. Oh, that's good. That's good. Like that. Like that, folks. Like that, folks. Oh, boy. And the idea that you think that I just want you to suck my dick because I'm gay is really ridiculous and anti-Semitic, okay? I'm just experimenting. I'm just trying new things. I'm on a spectrum, okay? Ben Shapiro, that is a wise man. Jews should be allowed to be homosexual, damn it. We'll fight for their rights. We need more homosexual Jews. Why not? Why not? I love Cowboy Hat Shapiro. That's the funniest thing in the world to me. Howdy, folks. Howdy. I want him to be at like a two-step bar. Like I want him to be at like a Billy Bob's or something where he's doing two steps and stuff. I mean, I love him as like a little cowboy. It's so good. Like a kosher cowboy. Dun dun. Saving all of his gold. and buying a new home like a kosher cowboy. Dun dun. Not eating bacon and getting kosher food everywhere he goes. And getting invited on Bill Maher's show. Now, your show's okay, but like I said, I am still depressed from last Sunday that cute cosplayer girl did not get my gifts and flower arrangement. It's unfortunate. God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Not saying as Trump is the greatest ever. Ben Shapiro has it out for Trump. I don't know why. Because he wanted someone else to win and he was wrong. I mean, that's really what happened. He was rooting for Ted Cruz and then Trump won. And you know, Trump's not... Ben Shapiro likes tact and all that, and Trump doesn't really have it. I mean, that's what it is. Like a kosher cowboy. That's the thing, man. That's the fucking thing, man. Pulp fucking Fiction, man. Alright? That's the thing. When I cast Uma, man, she was awesome, man. So, okay, I gotta talk to you guys about Pulp Fiction. We're gonna end on this, I guess. Because this is crazy. Right? Okay. How... Something came to me that I had never thought about with Pulp Fiction. Okay, do you guys know the scene where Vincent leaves the gun on the counter and Butch comes home? Spoilers, by the way, for a movie from 1994. And Butch comes in with the gun and blows John Travolta the fuck away in the bathroom. And Vincent gets shot and goes in the bathroom. See, that scene bugs a lot of people. It always bugged me. Why was Vincent so dumb to leave the gun on the counter? And I get that he's burnt out. And he's fucking burnt out, man. Alright? That's the thing, though, man. You don't get it, man. That's the shit, man. John fucking Travolta, man. He's fucking great. Alright? He's fucking great. And then I kill him. But then he's in the third act, man. He's in the third act, man. Okay, so here's the thing somebody was talking to me about. Now, we and a friend were having this discussion. I think this is mind-blowing. Now, there was counter-arguments to this point, but I think this is a great point. And I don't know if it was Tarantino's intention. I think it's... I'd have to do some research on this. Okay. That's not Vincent's gun, right? That's Marcellus left that gun there. Now, people will say Marcellus had a piece on him later when he's shooting at Butch. I hear ya. I hear ya. But I like this. Marcellus left the gun on the counter to go get the coffee and donuts because he didn't want to be walking with the big gun. Of course he has a piece on him because he can hide that gun. It'd be really hard to hide that fucking gun that's at Butch's place. So Marcellus left it on the counter, went to go get the coffee and donuts. And he's really close to the apartment. That's Marcellus's gun, not Vincent. And the reason Vincent walks out so casually when he's taking a shit is not because he's stupid. He thinks it's just Marcellus coming back from the coffee donut place. So he's walking out thinking like, oh, it's Marcellus. So he's going out. And then boom, it's Butch. And he's like, what the fuck? That's why he's got his guard down. Because he doesn't think Butch is going to come back. So he thinks him and Marcellus are just there hanging out. Probably talking, drinking coffee and donuts and all that, and he's not worried about it. But if Marcellus left the gun and not Vincent, that whole scene makes a lot more sense. It's like more logical. It doesn't just make Vincent an idiot who's burnt out and just didn't think about the gun. It also makes something really interesting that Marcellus indirectly kills Vincent, a guy he loves. By leaving the gun there, that kills Vincent. You know, and it's like, huh, you know, I've never seen it that way before, but it seems possible to me that it's Marcellus's gun and not Vincent's. I wonder if Tarantino killed Vincent Mann because he thought Travolta wouldn't be on the same level as Samuel Jackson in terms of career. I don't know. I mean, John Travolta's in the whole damn movie for the most part, except for like the Butch segment for that scene. Harvey Cthulhu. It does make sense, doesn't it? Right, that's the thing, man. The thing fucking makes sense, man. That's the thing. It's Marcellus's gun, man. I don't know why people think it's Vincent, man. Yeah, it makes sense. He had the big gun, and he laid it down, and of course because they're like he had a piece on him. They were saying because the counter argument was that he had a piece on him, so that was his gun. But I don't think that was like I'm sure Vincent had a gun on him too. And it's just that was the gun they were going to shoot Butch with. It cracks me up too, because sometimes I just go into it like I'm talking to a friend, and I'm like, man, it's aces, man. It's all right. It's all right, man. It's okay. You know, I really, really like my words, man. I really, really like my words, you know. Brian fucking De Palma, man, right? And then, Brian De Palma, he's my favorite of the film brats. He's fucking great, you know? You know, we don't need to do another take, man. We got it. Fucking Uma got it, man. The Uzi represents a failure of gun control. So, that's the thing. Like, Marcel's couldn't go with that gun. Vincent probably has a gun in like a holster. He just isn't going to draw it because Marcel's comes back. So the argument also was, though, that Vincent's just a burnout. But I think it makes the whole scene way more logical that Marcellus left the gun, Butch came back, the gun was laying there while Marcellus was out getting the donuts, and Vincent walked out thinking Marcellus had come back from the donut shop, and that's what got him killed. That's why he didn't come out with this gun. That's that, and to me, that makes that whole sequence make way more sense. The film really subverted expectations, man. I subverted them, man. It's awesome, right? It's great, you know. You know, I just wanted to win this Oscar. It's fucking great, you know. I just want to see a T-Rex with an afro. Yeah, I hear you on that one. It would have really. That's the shit, man. All right. I suppose we've come to the end of this show. I suppose we don't need to drag this thing out too much now, do we? Suppose we've done enough, haven't we? So, hold on. I made something a little special for you guys, because you guys are awesome and you've stuck it out with me all this time, so bear with me a second here while I get this set up, okay? I got a little thing ready for episode 50 as a celebration. I hope it was a good show for you guys. I'm sorry it wasn't super great. Hey, Fraser, man. Well, I was hungover a few days ago. I got really drunk and watched 40-Year-Old Virgin. Oh, God, that's not what I wanted to click. Son of a bitch. Well, you guys give me a second here. Sorry. Glad Fraser made it, man. I wish Blood Money could have been here. He was at the live stream last night, but he hasn't been feeling very good, so... What are you gonna do? It's unfortunate. I miss our team. Okay. Let's see. And I need to get this right. Give me 1 second here. I hope that works. Not really sure. It might be a little bit too big for it. It should work. Okay. Booyah. Okay. So, oops. Okay. Sorry. Okay, I'm ready. Okay. So, don't be modest, Pat. Today's show was great. I think it was okay. I don't think it was a great... It's not more singing, is it? No. No one gave me the super chat for the singing, so don't worry. I only sing when I get paid. No, I haven't heard you arguing about it, man. I think it was a good show. I think we did a good job. I think we had a good setup here. Were you on? Were you? I didn't hear you on that. You were on Ralph Retort again? That's sweet, man. Okay. So I just wanted to say something. Now that we passed 9,000 subscribers and we've done 50 of these, and I just wanted to this is a message to you guys, all of you out there who have stuck with the show, and the new fans, and the ones that have been around since the patriarchy days and everything like that, and those who maybe only sub because of one type of content or video, maybe only like the live streams, maybe only like the movie reviews, maybe, you know, people, subs tell me different things. you know? But, anyway. It's tough to say things that come from the heart. You know, because you always have the fear of being rejected for saying what you really feel. Or even worse, being mocked. I wish there was the right group of words to say what you guys have done for me. Coming here every Sunday to hear me go on about random nonsense and break down the weekend numbers like you guys have. You know, the show started as a way for me to exercise my hobby, but then it turned into something much more true and revealing. It became me slowly learning how to connect again, and to have faith in others. There was certainly a period of my life not too long ago that I had become very cynical and cold, detached. I suppose I was made bitter by what I considered to be a universe that was indifferent to my needs. A lot of you will never know what goes on in my real life, and it's probably better that it's kept that way. I just want you to all know that everything wasn't perfect. It hasn't been, and I don't talk about it too much. I don't talk about the private stuff. But life never really is perfect, is it? The title of Box Office Addict came from my quirky addiction to looking at the numbers on Sundays since I was like 10. But now it's clear to me the real addiction was the one of wanting to hang out with my friends. Each one of you guys providing me with a unique perspective and hope that I can actually be more. Each one of you being a brick in this house that we built together. You know, our house is a very, very, very fine house. When there was nobody else there, at least nobody that understood, I think, you called my name in the darkness. And I heard you. I like to think that all of us came in some way or another from the same stardust, and fate somehow united us so that we could shine brighter than any of us could on our own. Every Sunday's had its ups and downs, but I believe we've created a solid body of work, and I think it's going to stand up to the test of time. I think that these 50 episodes are really going to hold up, and there's a lot of gems in there. And the thing about it is, you know, we aren't done yet. I usually ask you to please rewind your VHS tapes, but now I'm asking you to fast forward to the future. The one where we get this channel big enough so that we can do this more often, and the one where I can make all of the content and the kinds of videos that you guys want. I have the time to do it. Personally, I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you are too. If you listen to this show, you're probably a box office addict yourself. And I'm not here to help you with that addiction. I want to encourage it, because it's an addiction worth having. And I hope we can do another 50 more.